as we break that IPO range and come back in, and then today we get some upside surprise there on this SMR name. So this should be a good one. XE. Look for some more volume to come into this name as the day goes on. I did lose one of my charts there. Yeah, I guess I got to open it up back up again. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. It's been 11 o'clock. We'll give Joe a couple seconds to settle out over there. Yeah, look, the reason why I picked SanDisk is just, I don't know, it's, oops, that's Blue Ocean, SNDK. They're reporting this week. You know, they've been pretty hot. They're not taking out. I mean, I was almost going to go Micron, stay away from the report. Micron's been real hot, but there goes SanDisk breaking through some of those levels, and it's a very dangerous. Like, they could be down 25% on earnings as well. So, no idea. Just want to get some fun back in there as they try to break higher there. SanDisk, what a name, what a monster. I mean, if you go back to August, which, can you believe this was $41 name? Like, you're 1,041. They added $1,000 to their ticker in about 8 months. So there we go, man. I mean, SanDisk continues to be real hot. I'm going to open up my other layout here, get this chart back open. It should open up right here, right now. Right now or not. So we'll get that all figured out. But all right, it's 11:01. Joe getting locked and loaded. Thanks for watching. Neil will be back in the seat tomorrow. Thank you, Joe, for everything today. It was a great open there. Thanks to Darius, Sia for everything. Thanks, Sharif, for the big desk as well. And thank you to Michael Noss, who came through with us at 8:30. And most importantly, thank you to everybody for watching. We wouldn't have a show without you. So I'm back at 2 p.m. The midday boys will take over for me for now. And you're going to get Joe one more time and Sharif. It's going to be another great show at Darren and Sia in the back as well. See everybody at 2 p.m. Ciao till then.
Boom, 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 boom. Oh. Greetings and
Did you tell him to do that?
Pardon me?
Did you tell him to synchronize with that?
That's why I call him Assassino. Because he's thus that good. Shout out to everybody. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Midday Show. That's your boy, Joey Options. I'm Sharif. Let's say hello to everybody, Joey. Assassino, I can hear myself in my ear. I don't know what's going on there, but thank you. Nope, not still there. Mel, Aria, we got John Zuver. How about Bodine? Sunny Sharma, BJO 9000. Shout out to 29. Slow Motion Joe, Dean Allen, Mike P. D Rider, one of Mike PD Rider's many accounts. Shout out to my man. We got Mopar for life, Commodity King, Boosted Red Spot. Shout out to Tony, SRX1, Jeremy Newman, Clint frickin' Hamilton, Green Saber, and shout out to Common Sense. Shout out to my man, Hangry Wife. We got TTNNP. Who else? If you're new, maybe you're not even that new. Maybe your name hasn't been called. Probably SSE. I'll probably shut it off in a second here. Texas Boy 1979. Daily Day Trades Pablo. We got Janky Stock, Randy Worms, Mimi Wasabi, and Leahy. Homeless God. Okay. Well, God is omnipresent, so you could make the case he may be homeless. I don't know where I'm going with that. Brooke Trades, Robert Lewis, Melinda. Who else, man? West Y'all, Tyler Smith. One more. Joey.
Yes, sir.
Looking for a new name. Hectic 187.
Ooh.
Yeah, I hope it's not a hectic morning, I'm not gonna lie, but let's take a look at what is moving right now. I already know what KC526 is looking at. Casey, don't try to pretend like your screen is not on HTCO right now, because this is a multiple halter, and I know this one is right down your alley. I'm keeping an eye on this one as well, up 145%, basically knocking on the door of $30, $29.89 high. It was about to go limit down, funny enough. Now limit down's moved down. 25.82 is limit down. 30.90 limit up. This one's halted multiple times. I'm just reading what she says in the chat. Of course she's looking at HTCO. The grass is green every day. Let's go. HTCO is the one that I'm going to keep my eye on right now. But PAPL made a big move here as the boys were winding down the morning show. That flat top break essentially threw $1.20 ripping up into $1.35, up about 40%. So Papel, this is a second day play. You'll recall we had Papel on watch on Friday as well. Probably the day before that. This has been running for a number of days, so a repeat offender here for PAPL. There's a bunch. There's YAS, that's trying to hold up at the volume-weighted average prices. SGMT, which is up about 45%. Big breakout right at around 7:15 when the headline hit. A 937 high. This thing closed out at like 586 on Friday, so it's up big. Right now, though, it seems to have a lot of trouble, Joey, for whatever reason. Don't really know why. At about 875, 850, you can see that initial rejection right at 7:50 a.m. and down we go after making that 937 high. Funny enough, though, there does look to be like a good area of support at 8.25, not an area that I would have earmarked. I would have been looking at VWAP or that whole dollar level, which are separated by 8 pennies. Nonetheless, 8.25 it is. We're going to keep an eye out on that, especially if this current candle, the 11.05 candle that is, breaches the 11 o'clock candle, which is an 863 high. We're showing 53 right now. If it breaks above that, then we could be on the way to 875.9. That's SGMT. As you can see, there's plenty on my screen today, all of which are looking pretty good trend-wise, like structure-wise. CAST also above 26.33% Remax. Do you know why they put the slash between the re and the max in the logo of Remax?
I don't.
I don't either.
Okay.
And we looked into it and we couldn't
find any good answers.
I don't know, man. I see this company up a lot, obviously, around here, especially real estate dominant. It's only a $200 million market cap, though. So RMAX trading at about the volume weighted average price. This one, guys, could be a flat top break through 10, but I would say be on the lookout for bamboozlement. It broke it in the pre-market at 6. It broke it in the pre-market at 7, and it broke it I want to say a couple of times over here, 9:30, right at the implied balance open, and then 9:50 again, all of which failed that $10 area. They all retraced below. So Remax in focus. ABSI as well, Joey. This one not up, not nearly as much percentage-wise as some others, but you can take a look at the structure there. Very, very respectful of the 10 exponential moving average on the 5, showing about 450 or so. That's ABSI. Last but not least, MNTS. This is another repeat offender, getting a big breakout at around 10:15. Joey, 678 high. We'll see what this one holds up. But there goes HTCO. Here comes limit up into 31.84. We're showing 31.20. Let's see if we can limit up again. But HTCO is ripping into another local area highs. It's a 31.84 high. I see support generally at around 27.5. I want to say to about 28. That's because of this flat top break over here. So I'm not saying I'm going to wait for it to drop down into there. You may have to punch in at the highs. I really, really don't like doing that. I'd like to pick it up off a key area of support, Joey, but you know sometimes we don't get the opportunity.
Yeah, so that be the case sometimes. All right, guys, let's take a look at some of the names that we have on the radar. I mean, you've seen what we're going over here today, but what we were grinding essentially all morning up until until 11 o'clock. We were in this for quite some time, 9:55. All the way up until 10:40, so over an hour, just gone, evaporated. This 5-minute candle putting in the exact same span in which we were grinding. So we got out break even here on that trade. Oh, hold on, let me zoom this out. We didn't have very much size left, right? We were talking about 2.5%. So you take that break even, stop out, looking for the all-day continuation. Doesn't seem to be the case, but what we do have here, guys, is you can see that the market pretty choppy, a lot of overlapping candles. This is going to be the TQQs, the NASDAQ here for us, TQQs on our SPY at the lower end. Let's get this over to a 5-minute time frame. And just sideways PA, overlapping, so buy the lows, sell the highs, buy the lows. And that's kind of the narrative. So channel to the downside, but it's kind of giving me feels like you can give yourself a really tight stop, and if you're proven wrong, because you're at the lower end of the consolidation at 661, you can place an order right there. And if it cracks, say this wick lower, you want to give it a little bit room just in case you have a headline step in. I believe we already had when there's a volatility spike would help drive Bitcoin a little bit higher on this specific candle off to the races it went, but then the volume starts to uptick on the downside as well as that upward trend breaks, and then sure enough, we go to the downside, sending off to Adara.
Keep an eye here on GOOGL, seeing that the company has apparently announced that Pentagon has added new Gemini models to its AI portal. Now, I've mentioned this before. Google does tend to have a lot of these announcements around 11 a.m., so kind of par for the course here, but hanging out near all-time highs as far as I know, as, again, the Pentagon adding new Gemini models to its AI portal. Back to you.
Yeah, let's pull up Google here. I know Adair was just talking about it. We may as well just go over it a little bit more here and see what we got going on. We hit all-time highs today, right? You're hit at 351. You open up at 342. So you're catching 10 points just like that. So Google's looking really good. I'm excited to head into towards the earnings report. I just believe this name can continue to climb, right? If we're going to be talking about Gemini and all the contracts that they receive and it being one of the better AI tools out there, then sure enough, what is that going to add from a market cap standpoint? If we're opening up ChatGPT and Anthropic at $1 trillion, so how much higher can we climb potentially here in Google? So I really like what we have going on in this name. We talk about it being the tech ETF. It is. You get exposure to everything, whether it be cloud, whether it be actual or AI tools. What else do we have? We have search, we have streaming, and then you also have autonomous vehicles within that. So Google is an absolute monster, and I think it's going to remain at the top of essentially from a market cap standpoint. I think maybe in the coming year, I wouldn't be surprised if it beats out NVDA. I just feel I have that much confidence within that name, and that's how I feel about it.
Bold, Joey. I like it, man. I like these type of calls. All right, couple of positions. We're in PAPL. Reason I'm in here, I perceive a flat top break in and around this 120 to 1.25. If it loses 120, I'm out. Simple as that. So we'll keep a close eye there. Also in MNTS here, looking for another move into the high of the day. My 1R on MNTS, by the way, 74. The high of the day, 78. So yeah, it's good that, I hate, trying to take out area highs for my first 1R. So that would be south of south of the high of the day. Now, problem is with MNTS, it's a bit spready. So you're going to have to be careful with this one, okay? Up into 68 it goes, but no continuation quite yet. Seeing 68 come up here, looking for 74. So those are the two trades I've got on right now. I'm quite interested as well in ABSI. Oh, what's this one doing? ABSI, but let me pull it up on a trading screen over here. ABSI, is this on the NQ? Yes, it is. 1 penny spread. It's trading at around 4.5 with a 460 high. It's not rocketing up or anything, but the reason I'm interested in this one is because it's held structure, and there it goes again. Into 58s. The high of the day is 60, so just glanced at the high of the day. Now, I don't necessarily want to wait for the high of the day break on this one, just because it's not really parabolic. It's more like steady state, higher lows, higher highs. ABSI, the ticker up 15 1/3. But there does seem to be a good amount of support here at around 4.5. Now, whether it loses 4.5 or what, we'll have to wait and see. ABSI, the ticker, going to go ahead and throw my risk calculator there to make sure that I've got the exact share size that I want. So we'll give it to 48, and that would be like a couple of pennies over here. So let's just go for that amount of shares, and then we'll give it to 48. So we're in about 3 positions, pardon me, at the moment. And for me, 1R on ABSI, 4535, would go to about 59. So let's go ahead and put an order at 59 to see if we can wet the beak in and around there or what the situation is. So basically in 3 positions, none of them really doing anything at the moment, but key technical areas for PAPL. I also like the $0.50 at around on MNTS, and ABSI also the $0.50. So if we lose any of these, it'll be small losses, and hopefully we'll ride trend a little bit here. MNTS holding up just a skosh. PAPL also showing that there is some buying here coming at the $0.25, but not exactly rocketing up. Now, by the way, PAPL is an Amex name. So, right away, I always say this, under suspicion. And I say that jokingly, but kind of not really, right? Amex stocks, in my perception in the past, that they're quick to change trends on you in a hurry. That's just one of the afflictions from which they suffer. The other affliction is, of course, much like New York, if it halts, we're going to have to fly blind. We won't have a theoretical, auction price that we can gauge, whether or not there's more buyers or sellers at any one level. All right, ABSI moving in closer here to my beak wetter. I'm waiting at 59. That's going to be 1R for me. On ABSI, we'll take out some of the positions there, showing 58s. There's sellers at 58, so nothing doing. Not really getting the print. It's a 1 penny spread, so it's a good spread. Volume decent as well, not great. 4.4 million shares traded on the day. So not too bad here. So we'll keep an eye on ABSI. Looking for that move into 59. So some size just came off 58s there, but no continuation quite yet. What are you guys looking at? Tag me if you guys are looking at any of the new or any small cap gappers that I don't have on my watch list right now. But we've got 8 good ones. Hopefully we'll be able to make some money off these. And then the one that I've said very little about here, kind of to start the morning, because I'm not involved in it, is HTCO. This current candle here is losing trend. So we've got a topping tail candle that breaches 30 into 31.84. The prior bar low on HTCO, it won't show me. Great. Okay, so we'll have to use a different screen, of course, because program is solid. Current bar, prior bar low on HTCO, 27.47. This current bar low, 26.67. So we've lost trend, at least for the moment, on that one. We'll have to wait and see if we can regain the trend on HTCO. So still, we'll keep a close eye on that one. Nothing doing over here. Nothing on ABSI either. Still waiting for the sellers to get removed at 58, but not really breaking through there. Video user says SLS. Let's have a look at SLS, see what that one's up to. It's not bad. It's not great. What is this thing up on the day? About 10.5, a little bit less than 10.5%. Let's look at SLS. You like the Mercedes SLS, Joey? I do. Yeah, attaboy. That's exactly what this reminds me of right here. SLS. Look, you know, not my faves, as I mentioned, but I pick it up if, you know, I had to, off the volume weighted average price. I don't like the failing of 5 and a move down into 490s. Look, if it finds buyers at 490s, fantastic. If it doesn't, I'm not involved. Really that simple. Watching here as ABSI just takes out our first beak wetter. Not a bad look on this one. We get 59, so there's 1R. Now ABSI 2R for me is 64. So let's go ahead and post at 64 on ABSI, see if we can get 2R quick as you like, or what the situation is going to be. This is not strong. It's up 16 1/3, but it's got good structure, hence why I'm involved. MNTS, no, not really. It's not losing the 10. It's not losing the $0.50, but it's not continuing on. And, you know, with the higher lows and higher highs per 5-minute candle. In fact, MNTS feels like the volume's dropping off a little bit here, something that I need to be alive to. Where am I at? 61, showing me 56, so I'm out of the money on this one. And then last but not least, Joey, PAPL, really holding that $0.25 well, where I perceive a flat top break to have manifested. But, you know, it's nice to see the flat top break. It's another thing for the level to hold.
Yeah, exactly. I got my eyes on the NASDAQ here, guys, TQQs to be exact. What we have here is consistent lower highs. So we can see that this downtrend is working. So essentially what I'm going to wait for is if we have a 5-minute candle close above this 662 level, then maybe we get some form of a continuation. I often say, like, when we're paying attention and we're looking to trade the NASDAQ, we have to keep an eye out on some of the larger participants. Like, what is NVDA doing? What is Tesla? The Googles, as Google's continuing to climb on the daily. You can see we're at 551.26 now. Is that a new HOD? Not quite, but relatively close, only a couple of pennies away. And same thing with AMD. Has this name started to recover on the session? Let's figure it out before we send it back to Adair. Hovering below the volume weighted average price. So I wouldn't be surprised if we can get rocking and rolling in the overall market. But we also have to, sorry, Adair, 1 second. We have to be patient and wait just in case this level is breached. Then there might not be a potential long here in the overall market. All right, Adair.
Yeah, let's take a look here at USO in the market. We do have some more headlines coming out of the Middle East. Wall Street Journal just reporting that Iran has offered a deal to the U.S. And we know we already heard that they were considering a deal. Apparently the deal they actually have out here is that they are saying they can end the war and the U.S. has to lift the blockade, and they will actually delay talks on nuclear. So apparently the goal of this offer is to start talks, but it does push the nuclear negotiations to a later stage, which we know that is one of the biggest things President Trump and his team have been pushing, that they want there to be negotiations here on nuclear and Iran not getting a nuclear weapon. If I get more details, I'll let you know, but apparently Washington and the U.S. here have yet to respond. We also had comments from the defense minister of Israel saying that there is no ceasefire with Lebanon. So more tensions in that area of the world as well. Back to you.
Yeah, that's not
What do you think about that? Like,
What's that?
The fact that the Strait is holding back oil. Oil is keeping, the lack of oil is keeping prices high. That hurts President Trump in his popularity and approaching the midterms. Yet, you started this whole issue based upon the fact that it was a nuclear issue.
Yeah.
So if you want to separate the Strait and the nuclear, right, how do you save face if you go ahead with that? Because you started this whole thing based upon the fact that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
But now a new variable has emerged, which is, you know, price inflation. What does he do?
was it really about, like, you know what, you see what I'm getting?
It doesn't really matter if it really is, but that's what he said.
Yeah,
so if he's
got
to hold up, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm 100%. Time will tell, right? Like if he's like, okay, yeah, let's work on that deal after, then sure enough, maybe it was just about that one thing. But I don't think it was necessarily only about them having a nuclear program, right? So I mean, I read a couple of things. I'm no conspiracy theorist, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. It's funny how this kind of war is going on, Sharif. You just have essentially one side bombing the other. It's not like Iran's doing anything to the United States, right? They're not over here dropping stuff on their
Remember when we got that, like, fear or whatever about
the hypersonic?
But I wasn't talking about that. Remember they were saying that there were sub-Iranian submarines off the coast, of the west coast in California. They were going to start clipping Orange County. I don't mean to make a joke about that, obviously.
No, it's no joke, but it's awfully lopsided if you ask me. So, I mean,
UCAR breakout.
Yeah, UCAR breakout.
Yep.
Nice call out there. I'm going to talk about the Qs here as we're still holding up at this lower end of the range. Google at the high of the day, and the market's not participating. Who's really dragging us down? And I'm going to kick it off with this right here. This is going to pull up NVDA and see how this has been performing. A nice bounce off of the low there, Gaurav. I know you've been long this name, hopefully from 208 as you're climbing back up to 210. I wouldn't be surprised if at some time this week it holds that 212. That's going to put you past that all-time high. But right now we're just stuck in this down channel and the market not looking like it wants to find a rebound anytime soon. With that being said, we're going to be patient, wait for that opportunity. We had that one trade already here today on Bitcoin, and good thing we got out break even, because look at the momentum just really pick up to the downside here as we get out. Boom, clean flush. So that's why even if it's a little bit of a percentage of what your total position was, you still want to get out at that break even, because you can probably get a better price. And the way price action is looking right now, I don't know if you get that full on recovery. Michael Saylor buying another 200, or sorry, it was like 1,300 or 2,300 or something along those lines, Bitcoin, or 3,200, sorry, Bitcoin for 255 million. I mean, let's see if this is going to drive price a little bit higher. This guy's going to be at the top in the highest holding wallet at some point here relatively soon.
Crazy, eh? Yeah. All right, PAPL stopped out, lost the 120 area. This could trend back up, but you know, if it lost the structure, I'm not going to chase it here. We'll have to wait and see how this one does. And HTCO is losing the bid and losing it in a hurry. Limit down, 23.86. We're at 24.26. 23.86 limit down. So it's losing 25 in a hurry. There does seem to be some buying here at around the high to mid 24s. Be on the lookout for that. ABSI, I got stopped out of MNTS as well. So we're going to go 1 for 3 to start the morning here, guys. No continuation on either of these initial ones, PAPL or MNTS. ABSI, the only one I'm still involved in. If that loses the $0.50, we've taken out a good portion of the position, but we're still holding the majority. So would probably put me break even on the trade. We'll have to wait and see. That's if I get stopped out of ABSI. But I see UCAR here moving. So UCAR, kind of a trade de novo, showing up a little bit late to the party. Let's see, is this on the NQ, Joey? Let's find out. It is. 1 penny spread right off the bat, 236 high, dropping back down now into the $2.25. So let me give you the technicals. Prior bar low, goodness gracious, this hover over is not working. 207 or thereabouts. Current bar low, 217. Prior bar high is the high of the day. That's 236. This current bar engulfed both from the upper and lower side because it's got a high a little bit lower than the high of the day, 235. But here it comes again into 31, looking for 32. This candle has a higher low, but it doesn't necessarily have a higher high. Let's see if this one can rip up. We got to go to Adara with news.
Just be aware here, there's actually a small cap, so keep an eye on this one. KITT, Nauticus Robotics, a name that's been on watch a lot as a potential sympathy play as we get news about these deep sea mines in the Strait of Hormuz. CEO of the company actually commenting on the Strait of Hormuz, saying that, quote, we anticipate a gold rush of activity on the governmental front. We have recently hosted several defense contractors at our Florida testing facilities, and talks are ongoing. So KITT CEO implying that the company could get some government contracts as a result, or at least potentially related to what's happening in Hormuz. Back to you.
Good stuff. Yeah, so Bitcoin's really moving here and starting to outpace the market to the downside. So I'm curious what's going on. We were up about 0.8% at the high of the day. Now you're down 1.25%. So that's a big swing right there. I'm just seeing if there's anything really going on. Does Bitcoin have a strategy problem? Okay, let's read this. Even though Bitcoin purpose built for uncontrollable. Now we'll read that later, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. That came out a while ago, anyways. So aside from that, we were talking about Michael's strategy. 3,200 was it? 255 million. He bought some more, so a pretty good look there. This guy's going to hit $1 million, I think, probably by the end of the year. That wouldn't surprise me. Moving forward, let's take a look at some of the other names on our watch list and who's helping drag this market down. We had Amazon getting closer towards the low of the day, so you can see we curl over right at VWAP, and then sure enough, we have a low of around 250 or 260.29, continuing to bleed. Meta just coming back in towards VWAP. Google still hovering around the high of the day, is coming to the lower end of the consolidation, but this thing's climbing. New all-time high on that as well, so looking pretty good. How is Broadcom off of that high? So you have that punch through, and then now you're starting to see an inside day, right? So a high of around 433 and a low of around 397. That's crazy, a $50 swing. Anyways, essentially, so you're on the inside 414.93. SanDisk, what Sean's pick, continuing to climb here today, another all-time high, and sure enough, you're starting to come back in, but nothing substantial. I think at some point these dips will get bought. And how has Netflix been performing, right? Like we had this massive breakout. How much follow through are we going to get? That primary trend is just consecutive weeks, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like over 2 months of just consecutive selling. You break out pretty strong. Now you want to find some form of continuation, which we're currently not getting right now, especially after that earnings report shriek. We had a massive gap down.
Well said, Joey. There goes UCAR into the day high, 249. We're long 33s. We've taken out some here at 1R. 30, I took it out before 1R. I'm not full disclosure. 1R for me was 50, but you know my my aversion for taking out 1R, 2R at the whole or half penny levels as a result of whole dollar or half dollar level, excuse me, as a result of possible psychological areas of resistance. So showing 45 right now, 249 high, looking for a move above the 50 penny area. There is selling as expected at around the half dollar, and hence why we did not breach. So continuing to watch that one. Here's 48, there's 49. I've got a liquidity tester just north of the half dollar. And it's for a very small share size, just to get an idea of what kind of resistance we're looking at the half dollar. UCAR, trade de novo, coming new with a new headline, a fresh headline, midday. That means the algos and the degens, including myself, including in one of those degens, that like the new trades where, you know, the best trade is not behind it. There it goes, Joey, through the half dollar into 55. So that's, okay, 2R now for me, 67. There is 59. Let's see if we can squeeze up a little bit. There's 58 into the high. There's 60, Joey. This one is ripping up. Let's see if we can get a little bit higher. 67. Looking for the next level at 60. Didn't even mean that. What? There it is. Let's see if we can break through the 60 penny level. Big sellers. We saw a big seller at the half dollar. Now we're seeing another big seller at the 60 penny level. So the algo setting up basically at every 10 pennies, give or take. Let's see if we can kind of get through this level. We've got 33s on, so we can rest a bit easier. Guys, there is nary a green candle here on the 5, at least on my chart. Maybe yours is a little bit different. Bottom right of, well, bottom right-ish of your screen. No red candles ever since that 11:05 break. So UCAR is on its horse and maybe looking at taking out 60 pennies. There's 59 again. The shorts are in trouble here, guys. Let's see if we can take some of the shorts money here above 60 pennies, or they're going to take our money. We'll find out. But we're nicely in the money, so we don't have to worry about this too much. But hey, if we can get above 60, you know how my bias works. If we get through these levels, we're talking the half, the 2/3, the 3/4, then my bias starts growing that we are headed to that whole dollar in and around 3, right? So we'll see what we get. Won't get upset. Shout out to my man, Neil. I don't know if is he under the weather?
No,
he's good. He's good to go.
Day,
I was going to sell him. Yeah, I hope he feels better. But
personal day.
Topping tail candle now, guys, forming on the car, UCAR that is. As I've always say, though, you know, these topping tail candles are not the end-all and be-all in the world of small-cap gappers. So, you know, don't try to be too myopic with the price action. Look at the bigger picture here, but continuing to watch here, Joey, looking for another move up.
Good stuff there, guys. I got my eye on a couple of names here. Where are we going to look to? We were talking about Tesla earlier this morning. Lots of buying pressure starting to kick in on the lower end of the day. I like this 5-minute candle, so you can see indecision print. You can see the buying pressure slowly starting to uptick, and the market not really doing anything. So we'll try to find an individual stock. I would like to grab it, but one thing that we need to do, we drew this trend line for you guys not too long ago. Once we get a 5-minute on the back side of it, then maybe we can continue to climb a little bit higher. And it's the same thing with NVDA. I wish these things were universal so I didn't have to continuously draw them, but maybe it's just best that we do it together, right? So we can see exactly what we're looking at. And Neil loves these plays. I love them as well too. The trend line break, you have a 5-minute candle opening up on the back side of it. That maybe can tell you, hey, we're ready to get going. We sold enough. There's a nice indecision print on volume off of the lows. Going to be your 4th or 5th largest print of the intraday session outside of this first half an hour drive, first 45 minutes. So that's looking pretty good. And if the NVDA gets rolling, then you know it's going to drive the NASDAQ with it. So that's something that we're going to be looking forward to. We have our eyes on Tesla for any form of a pullback. I'm not going to be, I don't want to chase it all the way up here.
I know I don't mean to interrupt, but you had a really good point. Your indecision print. New reviewer in the chat asking, what do you mean by indecision print?
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's do a quick breakdown, right? Don't tempt me with a good time now, Shreve, which you guys just did. So essentially, like an indecision print, I want to find some things that can classify as like a fully bearish candle or a bullish candle. So let's just isolate this 5-minute. Right, so you have an open up here at 62.13 and you have a close at 61.91. This is on the TQQs, right? That is just classified as generally as almost as bearish as you can get on a specific candle. Now flip this to be a green candle, right? And that's essentially as bullish as you can get. So an indecision print would be something where it's classified as a doji, right? So a doji candle, whether it be a hammer or a shooting star, whatever it may be, there's plenty of these names, but an indecision print would be something like this. So you have an open, and then you have a push all the way lower, but then buyers push price all the way back to close as a hammer. So I would just classify that as essentially as an indecision print. Same thing with this one. And when I talk about them, location is extremely key. I'm not talking about them in the middle of the ranges. You will want to try to find them at the highs and the lows of the days and even around the volume weighted average price. But once you really start to understand price action, you'll understand this is an indecision print, a doji. And there's a lot throughout the intraday session, but where you find them and where you locate them is extremely key, in my opinion, and how the success of the trade is. So essentially that it doesn't close something as completely bullish or completely bearish. There's indecision and not as decisive as a move as what we've seen in some of the other prints. Adara.
Let's talk about BTC now. As Joe already mentioned here, biggest story by far today that I could find is Michael Saylor and Strategy purchasing more Bitcoin. As of today, announcing they purchased 3,273 Bitcoin. Last week, purchase value of, I think, 255 million for these Bitcoins. So now they hold 818,334 BTC in total. Apparently, this total purchase price at nearly $62 billion, average price per token across their tokens at roughly 75,500. Now let's talk about this price action on BTC because this is really interesting. Today we get a bit of a double top of that area just shy of 80,000. In actuality here, around 79,000 halves. Today high, just shy of 79.5. High on Wednesday, 79.5 on the dot. So again, we get that double top and we push lower. In this case with BTC, we've already given up as of right now the entirety of the weekend action and basically any of the action that we had from Thursday onwards. So big drop here on Bitcoin in terms of the amount of price action we're taking out here. Now we actually are down about 2% on the day. But again, when you think of the structure of this, I think a little bit more significant here. We'll pull up Ethereum here, ETH, and Ethereum continuing to look a little bit different than Bitcoin. In this case, a little bit weaker than Bitcoin here. We continue to have these slightly lower highs in the daily chart. And as of right now, trying to take out that support that we formed on Sunday, April 19th. So last Sunday here, around that 2,500 or I guess 2,250 level. Back to you.
Good stuff. Yeah, so there's the rebound, the curl off of the lows here on Tesla. Yeah, Bodine. Was it Bodine who asked that question? No problem. Anytime, my friend. Would you like to get in at 1140? That gives you up into 55s. Now let's see if we can get a pullback, retest this pivot here at 1148 or maybe even 1145s and then maybe a continuation to the top side here in TSLA. Now we have NVDA on the backside. As we want As we start to look at this one, 209, you know Drewski, right?
No.
Oh, you don't know the comedian Drewski?
No.
Oh, really? Okay, look at him. He's pretty funny. My type of humor. Anyways, aside from him, he's always like...
Observational or story? So
what do you
more
mean?
like Seinfeld?
No,
like
no.
Or is it like Dave Chappelle where he comes up
Exactly.
with the
Yeah.
Love
kind
it.
of like that too.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he kind
I
of
love that,
impersonates like things and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
he
that.
just
Yeah,
makes up these cockamamie stories.
Yeah, exactly.
But they send a message.
Yeah.
Right?
So anyways, there's this one skit where he's just like talking about all the people at like HSB or like historically black universities in the States, right? And like there's this one group and he's just always mimicking them. He's just like, just doing that. And he's like dancing like an old man and stuff, like wiping down his old vehicle and stuff like that.
Joker.
Funny stuff, yeah.
I like that. I like the guys that can actually put on a story.
Yeah.
It's not just making shallow observations that everybody can make. Hi, Seinfeld. Love you, brother.
He did the controversial Erica Kirk impersonation. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah.
Thing. Yeah.
I didn't. No. Interesting. Guys. There goes UCAR into 265. We wet the beak at 63. It's dilly-dallying right now, man. Look, it's not losing trend in the sense, what I mean by that is, in the sense that it's not losing prior bar low. So if you're riding trend, as many mechanical trading systems do, by just looking at the prior bar low for a reason to get out, moving up your stop constantly to prior bar low, a trailing stop as one would call it, you haven't been stopped out. But we got a couple of topping tail candles now, all of which breach 60. There hasn't been a print though, a closing print, above that 60 penny level. I don't really want to do prior bar low with this specific one, at least on the 5. And the reason I say that is I got pushed out a number of times last week on these, very parabolic names by having too close of a trailing stop, I think on the 5. So if I'm going to use a trailing stop, I think I'm going to look to the 15. But here comes the $0.50 again. Quite frankly, I feel the area that I got in at that 230 something was the hell of an area to get in there because there was multiple rejections at that level, almost a flat top break. It's losing the bid really quickly right now. My area is essentially VWAP. Does this stock hold up above the volume-weighted average price? If it does, VWAP is 235, 234. I'm in at 33. So I'm going to hold. And if it holds up at VWAP and then subsequently shows me the next 5-minute candle, that is, a new 5-minute candle to make a new high, I'm going to add into the position. We're going to wait here as it's neither stopping me out nor losing VWAP. So that's my look there. HTCO is making a move here, guys. Here comes HTCO into 28. Got off the schneid at 24. There's 28. Let's see what kind of selling now we get at 28. Big sellers, they're killing them. All right, for the moment. Makes me feel bad. It makes me look stupid, because the spread on some of these is a little wide, so it'll like breach through 28, it'll go like 28, 25, then I'll see it like 27 something because of the spread, obviously. So no continuation quite yet through 28, showing 27 3/4, not a bad look here on HTCO. But I gotta tell you, I don't really have a great read on the chart pattern of HTCO. Let's look at this monster on the multi-time frame look and get a gander here of what we're looking at here. So they're all ugly. I'm not gonna lie. All the time frames on HTCO are quite ugly. Top left, the 1, top right, the 5, bottom left, the 15, bottom right, the hourly. Perhaps a flat top break here on the 15. What do you guys think? Obviously, this candle here ruins that, the 11 a.m. candle. But look at the wicks and the closing prints right around 28. So it feels like the real selling, at least from what you can see on the 15-minute time frame, HTCO looks like it's got a lot of selling at the 28. In fact, the only closing print to close above 28 is this one right here, the 1045 candle, which closed, at 28.16. Then we saw what the subsequent candle did. It made that high, but it also dropped markedly. So we'll continue to watch HTCO. I do like that 28 level decider there, but I'm not really interested in executing on it at the moment. Joey, I got to tell you, I'm not liking anything right now other than the one that I'm in, except maybe SGMT here is trying to make another move, but we've seen this story before with SGMT looking like it has support at 8.25 and then resistance at about 8.5, 8 2/3.
Look what Dana White said.
I saw. He was talking about, he's like, I took it all in. He's like, you could tell he's an adrenaline junkie, right?
Yeah,
and the camera, there was a camera filming him, right, when the whole thing was going down, and he doesn't even go down. He's sitting there. Everybody else is like below the table, and Dana's like,
it was like, yeah, who's it?
right? He's sitting there like really absorbing the whole thing in. He sees like the Secret Service, and they're making their move, and yeah, he was just about that life. But shout out to Dana White. I guess like, you know, when you're running a fight business, Joey, right?
Yeah.
Not a lot of things excite you. Guys, the spread is just opening up here. 27 on the bid. It was like 66 on the ask. And that's 28, 27, 27, 66. It's marginally above 28, but no closing prints. And you can see the resistance coming in on HTCO right around 28. There is an epic struggle happening right now between longs and shorts at this level. Let's see how this cookie crumbles, Joey. If we rip up and we leave 28 in our dust, HTCO could be back and a breakthrough 30. It's above it right now on both the bid and the ask, so watch out here. This could be the breakout right now on HTCO.
Yeah, big scalp. It doesn't sound like you have. Thanks, I appreciate that, big scalp. But if you have an 84% win rate, I don't think you really need to fix anything. As long as you're remaining positive, can you improve? Absolutely. Do I have a great skill from getting your losers fast? I do the majority of the time. Sometimes I don't. You have to be 100% though. Like, I mean, there's times when you have to cut things, and I tend to do that. Why? Because I just had years of experience of working on my own and trading on my own, and I've been through the fire, essentially, that if you don't, it'll burn you more. Right? This is what I often say is that if you break your rule, if you continuously break your rules and it seems to work, eventually your rules will break you and then you'll be like caught scratching your head. So nonetheless, I think you're okay at an 84% win rate. Analysis paralysis, hone things down. Like, I'll go over the same names throughout the whole day. Like, we've been talking about the Meg 7. I have SMR, IBIT, AMD, Google, Tesla, NVDA. I still go through it sometimes. Like, so when I'm trading the TQs and I really get like zoned into it, I'm just like trying to get in that flow state. Sometimes I'll catch myself going through Apple and Amazon and Meta and NVDA and AMD and Microsoft and all these names a little bit too much, to the point where it's like, okay, it doesn't really matter. What is price action telling me? Even though I say you want to look at them, it can give you a little bit more conviction within your trade. If they're all climbing higher, then sure enough, yeah, take the long on the NASDAQ as it's continuing to move. But this is it, guys. I thought we were going to climb. We had that curl over bouncing, NVDA helping drag the market up. I was posted up at 61.85. I thought we would get this pullback. Doesn't seem to be the case right now. Off to the races the market goes. You have now 10 minutes sitting on the backside of that trend. I'm going to show you here momentarily, but that's going to be right after we get back from Adara.
Yeah, one headline to keep you guys aware of, nothing massive here, but Iran's foreign ministry apparently going on Telegram and saying that Iran's foreign minister Arghachi told Putin, the leader of Russia, that the U.S.'s, quote, destructive habits and unreasonable demands, as well as their frequent changes in position, are slowing down diplomatic process. So Iran apparently talking to Russia, saying that U.S. is the reason that these processes are going pretty slowly when it comes to negotiations. Again, you have to keep in mind the source. This is coming from Iran itself, saying that the U.S. has been slow, but either way here, more back and forth and commentary about these U.S.-Iran negotiations. Back to you.
Great stuff there. Thank you very much for that, Adara. There goes the market. So there's a very low chance of 61.85 coming into play for us. Now, I like what somebody said here, CED, SSTX. You say, okay, news stepping in here potentially in the market as NVDA is climbing higher. We're seeing an uptick in the NASDAQ. We'll keep our ears to the ground just in case anything steps in. All right, so this is what I have to say about this, and I actually went through the experiment. So you say, look to increase your risk to reward as you have a high percentage. So it's funny, when I was creating a couple of my algorithms, me tweaking my risk to reward so it takes profit at a 2-to-1 or 1-to-1, I actually found that you will see, so the larger your risk to reward you're looking for, so say if you're looking, say, average of 1.5 and you're looking for an average of 2.5, but that means you need that trade to work out longer, you can see a slight downtick in your accuracy. Why? Because you're going to be exposed to the market more. So what I had is that I had exactly a 2.5 to 1 on my primary algorithm, and the accuracy was a little bit lower. I put that down surprisingly to a 1.8. This is where I found the median and where it was the most successful, a little bit under a 2, and you see multiple upticks in percentage points from that specific strategy. So you may have an 85% clip rate at hitting say a 1 to a 1.5 to 1, right? But as soon as you increase that, don't be surprised if you see that accuracy slowly start to compress a little bit and come down as you widen the range in which you're going to take profit.
That's actually a really good point, Joe. Continuing to watch UCAR, holding up at VWAP, not liking what I see for an ad. A move above 44 or 45 likely gets me back into the trade. Area high is the candle, the one on the 1 minute chart, by the way. 1141, the high of which is 42, but it's really putting in, honestly, it feels like to be like lower highs and about to flat bottom break. So what I'll do is we'll go break even on the remaining amount over here, which isn't much, quite frankly. Let's go just like that, and we'll just leave that there. Now I'm watching as well PAPL, because it's starting to look like it has that 120 area support. I mean, the only time it breaches when I got stopped out, but it's not looking great either. I mean, if I had to classify this, it's like a C plus possibly set up, but not great. HTCO bamboozled. It went through 28. In fact, it almost got into 30, about 29.5, and then it lost it. It dropped into 25. So HTCO, not really ready at the moment. It's SGMT that's starting to look pretty good, okay? And here it is, taking out area highs. We were talking about SGMT having a bit of a range, and now it's ripping up into 73. And by ripping, I mean relatively speaking to its price action into 75. It looks like it was a clean hold here at 8 1/4. 8 1/4 has shown itself to be a bit of an area support, at least once the price action calmed down a little bit. SGMT into $0.75. I don't even have a risk parameter on SGMT. Who we're going to take off here? MNTS, which ABSI, hot garbage. So we're going to put in SGMT over here. Let's flip back to the live price, and here's what I want to risk, and we'll delete that. Perfect. Just using my risk calculator above. Oh no, you suck, UCAR. I didn't get a chance to add. It just things go without me, man. UCAR holding up at VWAP here, south of the $0.50. Let's see if this can get right back above the $0.50 and start taking out some area highs. We got 33. I didn't add into 40. Got a little distracted there looking at SGMT. But look, there's localized selling. They're selling at 49, 48, so we can't break through the $0.50. If we fail here on UCAR, I'm out. Reason being, that would be the lower high setup, right? So we got into that 265. That's the area high, right, where we got out. And then kind of come back down into VWAP. We hold support. Here it is, 250 again. We hold support at VWAP, right? We move back into 255, and here it is again, Joe. So this one is back in business. The car looking real good. Let's take a little bit up here for another possible high of daybreak. What do we got on this one? Big seller at 58, looking for that continuation to retest that 65 area high. Obviously not pleased with where I got in, but nothing really changes for me here. If it loses VWAP, I'm out, Joe. Here's 59. Let's see if we can pop up into 60. No continuation, though, through 60, so we just flash 60s there for a quick sec, and then I move right back down. So keeping an eye on this one, brother. What do you got?
Yeah, good look there. Bounce off of volume-weighted average price here on the NASDAQ. So I'm probably going to have to lift this bid up to 61.95. That's the most I'm willing to pay. We'll be a little bit more patient as the market is climbing a little bit higher here, and it's being led. We know who's already leading the race. Boom, off it goes. This was the print, Gore. I couldn't even say enough, brother. You're just an absolute monster with this style of trading, man. And I couldn't be more happy for you, to be honest with you. Continue to do your thing, whatever it is. It's working. Will AMD find somewhat of a bounce? You're getting a curl over here, just in case it's really weak. We can have a tight risk profile. Let's pull up AMDL. I do like it right around that low. Let's get involved here. We've had a monstrous run, and what we can see is that the buying pressure is relatively weak. How much? I got to give it 30 cents. So with that being said, we're going to go really light on it. Okay, let's go. Let's get involved a little bit more, but 31.20s. We'll give it to 31 flats. Okay, so that's going to give us 60 cents, a little bit more. I'm using AMDL for a potential rebound back and towards the volume-weighted average price. If it curls over and cracks these lows, out of dodge we go, and we find something else that has been working for us. We've had that one trade on here today, and that is going to be IBIT. That has been the monster for us. We want to get involved in some NASDAQ. Let's pull it up here as you get that downtick here. Ooh, AMDL, using the leverage product to our advantage here, Sharif. A slight uptick. This is what we want to see. Bang, a couple of pennies in the money. 31.40 would have been more ideal, but we do have that breakup, and there's some buying pressure off of the lows. We just went over this bang, bang, bang. A nice support level as the market's continuing to climb higher, but this dog here is leading the way once again, climbing. I think it's only a matter of time. I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the post-market or even by the end of the session that you have an all-time high at this pace here on NVDA. You're about $1.30 something away from that level, brother.
UCAR ripping up into 270 again. Got in a little bit there, scalped up a little bit more, looking for a move now above 270. A lot of selling on these names, though, guys. You're kind of seeing the shorts take aggressive positions as soon as we make new area highs. There's either aggressive profit taking or aggressive selling at these levels. Let's continue to watch here. I'm going to build a position again into this one, looking for, mistake. Looking for that move back into 270. Let's see what we got over here. My man, Adam James abroad.
Adam.
I love this guy's energy, bro. I mean, he's great. Looking for that entry here. Let's go ahead and give this one, let's go ahead and just do that for that many shares. We're looking for a bigger move up, though, on UCAR. Let's see if we can kind of pop up into area highs there, 66. We're going to wet the beak there super quick. What happened here?
What happened?
I don't even know what happened with UCAR. I don't understand how the whole thing got out. Okay, that's fine. We'll get back in. We made a boo-boo there. We took the entire position out. That's a mistake on me. Let's see if we can get another hold up at this area. New 5-minute candle now. Let's see. There was a buyer generally at 60. So let's see if we can kind of see what the buying was in and around that level. Now they're buying at higher and higher levels. So let's take this up, 259. We'll have to give this one a little bit of room over here. I've got a bias that we test that 70 penny high again, but you never really know how these ones are going to act, right? Selling really into the highs. Prior bar high is the high of the day. There's 69, no follow through yet. 69, a lot of selling at 69 here. Let's see if we can flash 70s momentarily. Look at this size selling, and it's all a hidden order at 69. There's 69 again. Aggressive selling. Nary a 70 print. There's 70. Can we breach through 70? Lots of selling, guys. At 70, a very aggressive seller right there. So we'll wet the beak. We'll take out some profits there. We'll see where this one wants to go. Anything below 260 ends the trade for me. So we're going to keep an eye out on that. Let's post something a little bit above 70. I'm going to go for an aggressive price spike up into 75. Big seller again at 70. There's an aggressive buying, sell, tug of war happening right at this high of day. But shout out to my main man, Adam James abroad, dropping 2 in the chat. Smash Bros. It's always that. It's always going to be Smash Bros, baby. Shout out to you, my man. By the way, good dub there for you guys in Southampton. That's good. So you guys go to the FA Cup final with Chelsea. That pleases me because more distractions for you guys kind of puts the possibility that you may slip up in the Premier League. Now, I know we're also in 2 tournaments, as are you, because now we've got semifinals this week against Atletico, who have, by the way, have not done very well in La Liga at all. But hopefully, you guys have a little bit of a hiccup there. Maybe drop a couple of points, much to Arsenal's pleasure. We got to go to Adara.
Pop up here in DraftKings, DKNG on watch, and you could also keep an eye on PENN, Penn Entertainment, but DKNG by far getting the better move here. We have a report from a journalist by the name of Ben Horney citing CFTC Chairman Michael Selig, basically saying that the CFTC is considering some proposals to regulate prediction markets. These are not far away, and they could include restrictions or bans on prop bets and parlays. Again, CELA reportedly saying here, quote, we can't have them be the Wild West. So again, indications here from the chair of the CFTC that we could be getting some further regulations on these prediction markets. Now we know DKNG and PENN in the gambling space, they do compete with the prediction market, specifically in parlays, which were mentioned here. So could be a good look here for DKNG and PENN if we do end up getting those restrictions on these prediction markets. Back to you.
What was his name, Joey?
I think it was Ben.
Ben.
Yeah.
I know Ben. The guy in the back.
Connor Ben?
No.
Oh.
Ben. Algo Ben.
Nigel.
Is that his last name?
Nigel Ben?
No. Just our Ben. What's his real name? What's his last name?
I don't know. I just call him Benner though. Yeah, shut up, Ben.
Stop, Adam.
What are you saying?
Arsenal Bottles League and Champions League bottle gas. I hate this guy, bro.
Gas, man.
Yeah, look, man, we beat the hell out of Atletico 4-1. That was in the group stage, to be fair, and quite frankly, we were an entirely different team at the time. Again, I'm going to keep saying the same thing. I don't recognize the team. They're not playing the way that they were playing. So, yeah, absolutely a chance that we could bottle that. Secondly, we also beat Bayern. I'm pretty sure we beat them 3-1, but that was without Alicia and some other people there. I think Bayern's playing a lot different, but Serge Gnabry out for the World Cup, so that removes an attacking threat there. I think very little of Harry Kane. Obviously as an Arsenal fan, but, you know, Alicia is just, he's crazy. Like the stuff that I'm seeing from this guy, he's the real purchase. Eze's been great for Arsenal, but I think Alicia is he's just a monster, an absolute monster. Yeah, Luis Diaz as well to New York. What a mistake Liverpool is for letting this guy walk. You don't break up a championship team.
Ever.
You let the championship team go until they stop winning championships, and then you start moving around the pieces. I don't know what they were doing in the front office. I don't know what Orange Salute was doing either, but that's kind of the look there, my man. Joey,
yeah.
What are you looking at, brother?
I got out of this AMD trade. I'm not liking it before my even stop hit, so I'm just like, all right, let's get out. Anything can happen. I got my eyes on DKNG now, up 1.5% almost. Continuing decline. So, I mean, we just take a fraction of a loss there, nothing substantial on AMDL. We had IBIT rocking and rolling for us here as this name is continuing to bleed and looks like it wants to curl over momentum. Really picked up to the downside with a high of around 44.38, and then sure enough we drop $1, which is quite a bit here in the name. So we'll post up. We still have our bid on the TQQs for a potential rebound as the market continues to slowly grind. It's broken that trend. NVDA is doing that exact same thing. So I think at some point this will be faded, this DraftKings move. So you have to be patient and wait for that to come into play. And then sure enough, you get that curl over, might give you around 50 cents or so, or 20 cents, which isn't horrible, down to 23. 30s on DraftKings. So I have my eye on that one. I'm going to kick AMD to the curb. So whatever happens on it can happen. I'm not going to be phased about it. I just don't like the trader right now, and I want to avoid it because it's really expensive in my opinion. $333. No thanks. I remember trading this thing when it was like 60, 70 bucks. And now holding the lows. Let's see, AMD looking heavy. Yeah, looks like it wants to sell off a little bit. Here's the curl over here in DraftKings starting to formulate. You're up 1.5% now, starting to see that pullback. Maybe it comes back in towards the volume-weighted average price, but this is my primary culprit. Let's see if we can catch this fill at 61.85. 85s here on the NASDAQ. Moving forward, let's take a look. Let's head back over to our watch list. And we haven't even looked at the options chain today. Oh my God.
Oh my Atlanta.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my Atlanta is right. There's BM&R. There's BM&R. Were you outside yesterday?
Crazy. Right, bro. Today and yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm out of here immediately.
Immediately.
Yeah, you got to spend these days outside. You know my aversion for humidity, right?
Yeah.
This is the weather.
This is your style here.
Perfect, dude. You got the sun. You got the temperature on your side. You just don't have the accompanying humidity.
You're just leaking.
Oh, bro, I can't stand it.
I love it, man.
No,
I love it.
No.
Dude, when I'm at home, it's just chilling. I don't need the AC. I don't need anything, man.
You don't need the AC in this weather. It's crazy to
No,
put
you
on
don't
the
need
AC
you don't need the AC. But even in the middle of the summer, I I just love sleeping on top. So I'll sleep on top of the blankets, be all nice.
Yeah,
and then your body naturally cools down,
fair.
right? So then when you wake up in the middle of the night, you just throw the sheet on
Right away.
No AC. I know you need the AC.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa, what's going on with Robinhood here? Dropping substantially
people were
down to $83, continuing to move lower here, guys. SoFi back down to $18.71. What's going on with this stuff? There's the pullback in DraftKings we were talking about not too long ago. So fade those pops, and then sure enough, you would be nicely ITM. I still have my eye on it. CrowdStrike, how you doing? How you been performing? I mean, you're only down a couple percentage points off of our entry price for those picks. Let's see if you can continue to climb. Receiving the upgrade here today, Sharif. So yeah, not too bad of a look for this SaaS names.
Yeah, UCAR guys, I'm just watching here on UCAR. We'll take our first negative trade on it. I tried to get in at 63, stopped out 55. So it's in kind of this, like, I don't want to say consolidation because putting in lower highs. But there seems to be a buyer in and around the $0.50. I don't think it's quite yet ready to go. I'm seeing ABSI look good. I'm seeing CAST look good. HTCO's kind of lost the bid here and is of very little interest to me. So SGMT kind of stair-stepping up below prior area highs, but there's CAST. CAST you're going to have to be careful with because it is a little spready. And ABSI as well, kind of like showing that curling effect. Finds a base at 450. You can very clearly see that. There was definitely a buyer at around 450. Now we're showing 54s. But I got to tell you, I'm not really loving these. So we'll pack the patience. But my main man, Adam James Abroad, dropping another 2 in the chat. A market correction could see AMD retrace to 180. Oh,
whoa,
my days.
Bro,
let's have a look.
180?
Yeah, man, he did say 180, Joey. Let's have a look. Let's see what AMD can do here at 180.
Who said that? Our boy Adam James?
Yeah, man, he brings the fire.
Brother.
All right, let's have a look. So this is the 4-hour chart on AMD. We're just going to do this quickly before we send it to Adara for happening now. Let's just take a quick look here, Joey. Where is the last time we had 180? Oh, my days. So we're going to have to zoom out a little bit. I'm just going to go ahead and say 185, James.
That's
Adam.
not 180.
I know, but look at this. Look at this bottom. 180 hold. 185 hold. 185.
Yeah.
And let's just go with 190 on that. There's a bit of a base here. So I'm going to say, you're going to drop down. You have a big market correction. Let's just say this whole AMD thing is a trade and not fundamentally driven, which I disagree with. But 260 would be the first area after 300, of course, 300 being the whole dollar level. You look for support in and around there. And then I'd look for 280. Look at that consolidation over a period of days. 1, 2, 3, 4 days we spend at that 280-ish level. Then we break out on the 5th. And then if that loses that 280 level, then I'm looking at around that 260 level, which is an area high that we rejected multiple times earlier this winter before we dropped all the way back down to 185. So I see what you're saying. To that 180, I would say 185, worst case scenario, but I don't see that happening. This is a fundamentally driven company. They've got deals. It's not like a small cap gapper that's, hopefully maybe we'll have a deal in the future. There's money coming their way now.
That's the stock getting cut in half.
Yeah. Well, it's done that before.
It has done that before.
It has done that before.
But it hasn't done this before with the deals that it currently has now.
No, it never had the deals that it currently has, right?
Right, so maybe that might be a deciding factor on that. There goes DraftKings continuing to climb. AMD.
Both wearing red?
Oh,
snap.
days.
You guys notice that?
Crackle, pow.
Look at that, bro.
No, it's chilly in here, no?
Unbelievable.
That's why I had to put the sweater on.
Put the sweater on?
Yeah.
It's like 25 degrees outside.
No, it's not.
All right, guys, we got to go to Adara for happening now.
Let's talk about today on this exciting session so far to start the week. And again, this week is going to have tons of action-packed catalysts from earnings to Fed speak and a Fed decision later in the week. As of right now, S&P 500 really struggling to get anywhere near our session highs and also that pre-market high here around that 714 halves level. Take a look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ looking similar and actually kind of more I would say, aimless than the S&P 500. S&P 500 a little bit more structured. NASDAQ kind of chopping around here with lower highs and higher lows. Let's talk, though, about some of these many catalysts today. Before I say anything else, I just got another one here for Google. GOOGL on Watch Financial Times reporting that Google staff is urging CEO Sundar Pichai to block U.S. military AI use. Now, this comes about an hour after we heard reports that the Pentagon is going to be, I guess, having access, I believe, to some more of their Gemini models. That was the headline from about an hour ago. So interesting note here. Now, speaking of these Mag 7 big tech AI plays, MSFT on watch with a big amendment to their OpenAI deal. Now, a lot of this is going to stay the same, but basically the major things that have changed here is that Microsoft is no longer going to be participating in revenue sharing with OpenAI. And furthermore, OpenAI now can also house their models on other clouds. So Microsoft is still their primary cloud partner, but it's not their exclusive cloud partner. After this came out, we had Oppenheimer reiterating outperforming Microsoft, but lowering their price target by more than $100 to $515. DKNG, we mentioned this one. This stock, along with PENN to a lesser extent, just spiked to the upside after a reporter by the name of Ben Horney, yes, that is his name, he went on X and he posted about an interview that he had with CFTC chair Michael Selig, during which Selig indicated that there could be some proposals coming out about more restrictions and regulations on these prediction markets, which we know are a competitor for the likes of DKNG and PENN, saying it can't just be the Wild West and allow these poly markets and Kalshis to do whatever they want. VZ was on watch today. This earnings infographic you can find, I think in about 20 minutes is scheduled to post here on X at TTV Research, but mixed report for Verizon. A lot of positive comments, though, coming from the CEO of Verizon, Dan Schulman, during their earnings call, did send the stock to the upside, namely their connection with Anthropic's Project Glasswing, and some indications they're going to be making deals with hyperscalers later this year. Last but not least, in about an hour, we do have a press briefing with potentially White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt at 1 p.m. Now, I say potentially because, as far as I know, she was supposed to be going on maternity leave. We know that she's going to be having a baby at any moment. I've seen that there could be any number of Trump officials or head White House officials that could be leading the briefing in her place should she not be there. Of course, I will keep you guys posted if there is anything market related to come of this hearing. But again, that briefing in about an hour at 1 p.m. In the meantime, we'll send you back over to the midday, guys.
Stuff. Yeah, thank you very much for that, Adair. Looking forward to all of that. Let's get right back into these markets as AMD is about to put in a new LOD. Well, I shouldn't say about, but heading towards that area. We're posted up at 6185s here on the NASDAQ, so it's been a good one here for us here today. Just in regards to Bitcoin, are we going to start to cool off? 5-minute time frame, we can see an indecision print, nice risk profile right there. I mean, if it's worked once, that volatility spike, let's get involved in this again. I like where Bitcoin's sitting. It can either work for us or we're going to be out relatively quick. It's either or, and I like that scenario because that's what happens when you put yourself in the right place at the right time. We have to risk about 10 cents on this one, so let's get ready to rock and roll. We'll post up so we get a good price on this one on the bid at 48s. We'll even put 47s in there because we like 47. Let's add a little bit here. We're going to increase our share size just a tad to see if we can catch a fill here on IBIT for a potential rebound and a move back up towards the volume weighted average price, or it's going to be an all-day seller. So let's wait and see what we got going on there at 47s. There we go. Bang, says Trav. Yeah, brother. What's going on? I hope you're having a fantastic day. Street's biggest winning month today, pushing the commas. Huh? Oh, yeah, man, I don't know. You'd have to ask Sharif that. But anyways, aside from Lost Pollo sold at 370, now left with some for a runner. On what, brother? Tesla? Oh, my God. Yeah, I know. Tesla, man. Oh, it's so frustrating. I was looking at it. We never got that curl lower in AMD, but this is what we're looking at here on Tesla. Boom, off to the races it goes. Now that indecision print right there on IBIT. Market continuing to climb higher. What are we going to do with ourselves right now?
Doing,
considering the market's just doing everything that we thought it was going to, breaking of the trend line, sitting on the back, and then now, sure enough, you have this name right here. Starts with an N, ends with an NVDA. So there it is, a nice move in the overall market as Tesla's starting to recover from its losses earlier, almost at the high of the day in NVDA, and we have AMD at the low of the day.
AMD.
CPRX pushing higher. This is Catalyst Pharma right now halted to the upside on reports that Angelini Pharma, an Italian pharmaceutical company, is reportedly exploring an acquisition of Catalyst. So again, CPRX reportedly an acquisition target. This one now halted to the upside around 32.56. If I see any more details, including a potential price for this possible acquisition, I'll keep you posted. Back to you.
Yeah, I just pulled that up before you brought up the headline. I saw it halted on my scanner. Very nice. Right now, it's showing a top of $29, though, which is well below where we halted. We halted 32.56 halt time, 12:03.54. That's not even a D print there. So the earliest we will be open is 12:08.54. Currently, let's just go to another time in sales, is 12:07.41, so about a minute and 10 seconds or so. We'll see. Shout out to the auspicious turtle. He says you want me to look at the top 5 topping tail candles. Would you help me understand these top 5 wicking candles on Poet since 9:58 a.m.? So this is the 1 minute. So 9:58. Let me just throw sorry, give me a sec here. Let's go like this so I can put in my vertical line, 9:58. Where is 9:58? Right here. Okay, so that's 9:58. I don't see topping tail candles, brother. Are you talking about these areas right here? You know, the price action at around 10:39 to 10:41, then again at 11:30 to 11:33. Tag me just so that I can see what you mean. But I don't see the topping tail candles, quite frankly. Let's just wait here. I want to see what CPRX is going to open up at. So here we go. It should be opening up in about, I want to say, 10 seconds if it's going to be a 5-minute halt. The top is moving up to 30, 29, 30 and a half now. The top is really dilly-dallying here. Moving on up. Let's see what we're going to get on this. It's open. It's opening down. It's okay. Limit down is 27.45. Limit down is 27.45 from what I can see, but it's regaining some trend here. Right back above 30 it goes. The spread is decent. It's like 30 some odd pennies. And there goes 31. It's up 12 and change, 13 and change now. No continuation through 31 though, but holding up above 30 generally. Yeah, I don't know what kind of momentum or trend we're gonna get. Gapped up into 32.56, dropping down to about the same price action we were at before we kind of gapped up at 12:03. So we're below 30 again. I don't know if I like this. What's up, man? What's up, SHS, NSN, y'all, Sharif and Joe missing out. Missing out on what, bro? NVIDIA? I don't trade large caps, brother. That's Joey's world, Sean's world, Neil's world. I'm just small caps and small caps only. But, thank you for thinking about me. I'm missing out there, but, I'm not going to trade them. So CPRX, let's see if this one can kind of regain trend. If it doesn't gain trend above 30, I'm kind of not interested, to be quite honest with you. Auspicious turtle, Sharif, sorry, your chart looks different. I wish I could send you a picture of mine. Okay, so you're probably looking at dark pools. I can almost make an educated guess. If you're seeing wicks and I'm not seeing wicks, there's probably a reason for that. IB doesn't show the wicks. Joey doesn't get them, neither do I, but we get them on here. Right on the white screen SSino, which is P8, of course. This is our firm software. We work in a prop firm. This is their proprietary software called P8 for real trading. And we do get the dark pools on there. So I kind of get what you're saying, but I don't get the dark pool wicks on my black charts, which are IB. And so I probably won't see those topping tail candles. Now, dark pools are important. Have you ever been printed on a dark pool intraday? Because some people have.
Never.
Never, eh? Yeah,
No.
Some people have been printed on dark pools intraday. But as a general rule, you're not supposed to get printed. They are basically orders that take place off regular exchanges, sometimes during off hours, and then they get reported sometimes midday, and that they throw off the price action, right? Because they took place at a different price level than the one we're currently at. That's why sometimes you see those dark pool prints. Only missing out on Arsenal title, Chappie.
You know what?
I'm gonna allow these trolls about Arsenal because they do bottle.
I want to add something as well too. Something that someone taught me a long time ago, and I actually I look.
People said that you're missing NVIDIA, by the way.
Well, no one's missing that, man. We know that we're almost 70 cents off at that 112 there. So essentially, watch the tape. An extremely strong morning. If you watch the tape on the same name of a Tesla, So to add to your point, so say Tesla's trading at $600, we'll call it $600 flat. Okay. You can see orders come in from the night before at like 604, 603, 602, just way above where price is currently trading. Right.
Yeah. It throws off price action, right?
So and then you can make trades based off of that. So you can see the arbitrage essentially from where price is to what's actually printing on the tape. I used to watch somebody trade like that, and they would just absolutely rip crazy size on that. We're in Bitcoin. Let's see if we can get a rebound. I mean, off of those lows, if it cracks, then so be it. No issues there whatsoever. Tomorrow will be interesting. Stick around. Yeah, I mean, we'll be there. We're out of this trade at 43.40s. And then we have no issues with re-engaging. It's been our better trader here today, so let's stick with something that we're in sync with. There goes the market off to the races, holding that $62 mark. We catch a couple of pennies here on Bitcoin. Let's see if we can get a move back in towards the VWAP.
Catch me outside.
Ooh, how about that?
UCAR just dropped, Joey, all the way down, losing VWAP, losing the 2.5, losing the 10 EMA. It's very bad, SSE. Oh, that's Fabian. Get it to my man Fabian. With current bar low, 219.5. It looks like it's going to lose 220. Quite frankly, I don't see any support until possibly $2. There seems to be a buyer here for whatever reason at the fifth of a dollar. Big buyer at 20, but they're eating away at his size. But more size came in there. Someone spoofing that. Someone just put in almost 1,000 lots on one exchange, and they were off like that. I didn't see enough shares come in there on the time and sales to remove that. So, guys, spoofing. I think we don't spend enough time talking about illegal activities on these exchanges. Spoofing is illegal, right? It's essentially me posting an order like we just saw at 220, so that a big order, mind you, so that it kind of shows the sellers that, hey, a monster order just came in at 20 pennies, and then maybe they cancel their shorts or they cover a little bit earlier. I had no intentions, though, of allowing that 2220, in this case on UCAR, to fill. So I ensure that it's canceled before it ever gets filled. So that's not allowed. And if you do it a lot, the exchange will ding you. But, you know, that is something that we need to talk about because, quite frankly, whether or not it's illegal or whatever, it's done often. So you guys have an idea about that. What's up?
It just hit that ding now. Yeah, it's usually when Adair.
Does anyone enforce it? Of course, when it's abused. Great question, Ichiro. Sometimes,
Yeah, you see that? Go back to that.
Yeah, he put the level 2 on the Fabian. He always plays around that. He's crazy with that.
That's Assassino, man.
No, that's Fabian, bro. Oh, Fabian. That's you, Fabian? That's Fabian, bro.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Come on, man.
Oh.
I got dunked.
Crazy. You didn't hear what Sean said to me today.
Hey?
He's like, hey, man, you wearing contacts and stuff?
Why?
He's like, your eyes. He's like, your eyes and stuff.
No, you have colored eyes.
Yeah.
Normal. I already knew that. Maybe he hadn't looked at you that deeply.
He hadn't looked at me that day.
That's nice.
Be careful, man.
That's nice.
Be careful.
I love it, man. So essentially that's what it is, man. You just put an order out there that you have no intentions of having filled with the intentions, or for the purpose, I should say, of dissuading others from getting in or getting out. And so the point I was trying to make earlier is sometimes we'll take legitimate orders, but the system here internally at our prop firm will kind of flag it as possible wash trade or spoofing, and then we'll get an error message. But sometimes it's not. It's not that, right? So, it really depends how it all goes down. So, guys, I don't like anything at the moment. I hate to put it so negatively, but nothing is really setting up my way. Everything is very consolidative, guys, whether you're looking at YAS or you're looking at HTCO, which, by the way, just found support at 17.5, right back into VWAP at 22.5. It is halted up. HTCO is halted up. SGMT as well. Looks like, okay, so if SGMT breaches prior bar high, I'm going to get in, because this clearly has a buyer at around the $0.50 where it had resistance before. So if I'm really looking for something here, SGMT could be setting up. UCAR lost it. CAST is too spready. MNTS is very spready, and ABSI very consolidative, so nothing for me to do there. It really does feel like maybe SGMT is the best of the bunch, and that really isn't saying much. So let's put SGMT on the UCAR screen. This is on the NQ. It is. It's a 3-penny spread on SGMT, which is already quite displeasing. Prior bar high takes us to 871. Current bar high is 68. If we breach prior bar high. I'm going to ride this trend for another possible attempt at $9. So we're going to keep an eye there. And while we're thinking about that one and assessing, we're going to send you Adair for news.
Keep an eye here in ASTS. This is AST SpaceMobile. We did have a post a couple minutes ago from the official FCC account, or the Federal Communications Commission of the U.S. They shared a post basically, I guess, just quoting their chairman, Brendan Carr, who said that the FCC is laser focused on clearing the way for direct-to-device. So direct-to-device, basically technology allowing standard unmodified consumer smartphones or Internet of Things devices to connect directly to satellites. So I guess this is being viewed as a good look for ASTS. Again, AST SpaceMobile pushing higher after the FCC shared a post on how it is laser focused on clearing the way for direct-to-device, or D2D. Back to you.
Take over for a sec, because I wanna find out if Jose was accurate about some of these low Earth orbit satellites
that still need to ping off
5G. Exactly, right? I'm going to find out if maybe that's newer tech, or like the Gen 1.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas Gen 2, 3, whatever, may not be like that. I'm going to do a little bit of a deep dive if I can send it to you. If that's
dive right in, brother. Yeah, there goes Tesla, the name that we wanted to get involved with. NVDA continuing to climb, man. What a beautiful play right there. Let's see if we can get a bounce up in Bitcoin. Off to the races it goes in AMDL, so that's starting to curl over. Excuse me. But you have an hour of just consecutive buying here, and you're going to head in towards this pre-market zone of 374 on Tesla. Let's keep an eye out on that. Let's see if we can breach this 211.98. One thing that we haven't done here today, guys, and we're going to do it right now, is pull up our options chain to see if there's any resistance zone at that $200 or that 212 mark, 2.5, or 1150 is 211.50 is what we're going to have to be looking at approximately. If there is even that, no, there isn't. So NVDA, there's no size here. Okay, watch out for this name to continue to climb higher. There is nothing from a resistance standpoint. Like absolutely zero. This is such small size considering 217.5. Let's head over to the May 4th expiration cycle. Nothing along that neck of the woods. May 15th is a number that we were talking about. Here it is, 212.5. Nothing. 2,000 contracts. Like that's such small potatoes, man. That's within like a couple of transactions here, essentially, right? So times that by 100 right there, and that's how many actual existing shares are still sitting there. But anyways, at the end of the day, May 22nd. Okay, 215, there's a little bit of size, but nothing substantial. So watch out for us to continue to climb higher. I'm waiting for a 1-to-1 before I even take anything off. Risk 10 cents, hold for 10 cents. Now that's going to put us right at 43.47. That's approximately 3 cents away. So as long as this bid continues to lift, then I think we'll be sitting in a pretty good position. But until then, we got to diamond hands this, be prepared to get out, but also be prepared to take some profit when we do run into those targets. AMD is of course AMD is ripping. We're out of that one there now, and it's heading towards the high. So an additional fake out, punches through the lows, curls over once again, and then sure enough, off to the races, helping drag the overall market up with it. Same thing with NVDA. Now, as for earnings, we can go over some of those names, look at the implied volatility. We can go over some of the expected moves as well. I'm sure Adair's going to make an infographic based on all of those, so you'll get a full dose of information and everything you need along those lines to guide you through some of the reports here this week. Wednesday going to be that star-studded lineup, and looking forward to that one without any form of question.
So they don't need them. The only reason that they do partner with them is because, you know, these radio frequencies, what are they called? The different wavelengths, what are they called, Joey? Frequencies.
Okay.
They're regulated federally, right? So you have to have a license. And so the ones that with the license are the telecom companies. Okay. Also, but they don't need them. They don't need them at all. It's just right now. So if they were to get their own license, then they would circumvent them. But the only thing is that when you send a text message, for example, via satellite, it goes back into the regular network, right? The regular phone network. Okay. And so what they're saying is these satellite companies, they don't want to build up their own regular terrestrial network, as opposed to only having things bounce between internally for their own network in space. So that should be interesting.
Do you see when you're in an area with no signal, you can select send like text with satellite?
Yeah,
now?
and it completely circumvents terrestrial towers. But the only thing they're saying here is that you only need them for the licensing of the spectrum, the wireless spectrum, so to speak. But once you start licensing these satellite carriers, low Earth orbit satellite carriers directly, and they own or they have the licensed spectrum, then why do you need them? Mm-hmm. So interesting take there. But the Starlink network works that way, says Ichiro. That was my understanding as well, and I didn't really understand what Jose was talking about. But nonetheless, that is a good point because he is accurate because they still do need them. For now, underline that, for now. Guys, I'm not liking anything here, man. Oh, boy. Well, let's just look at HTCO because it's trying to work back above VWAP, right into that 24 area. Look locally, there's a lot of 24 selling here. Not much for me to do at these levels other than the wait for a breach of 24 and then 25. Quite frankly, I'm not going to enter this at around this level. I'm 0 for 1 on it. I tried to get in over here. It didn't have any continuation. I really had a bias that there was a 28 area resistance that we broke from. We actually broke above it quite aggressively into 29.60, and then it ended up failing and it never looked back. So here we are right into 24, aggressive selling into 24. You can see that on both the level 2 as well as the chart. So no continuation, sadly, through that level. Yeah, JL 822, the whole market is sideways. Yes, small cap gappers included in that sideways motion, of course, but what can you do? NVIDIA is close to highs, so if you're looking for something right now, 2011.95 high. Is that all-time high?
On
12.12?
Yeah.
It's all-time high?
212 on
12.12?
Yeah.
That's, 212 is what I'm saying there, sorry. That is the look there. If there are any other small cap gappers, tag me. But right now, I'm not liking anything in the world of small cap gappers. I just had a quick look there on the scanner. Nothing doing, baby. But if there are other ones that I'm not keeping an eye on, Pat Christie says roller is grinding. Let's take a quick look at ROLR. See what he's talking about there. ROLR. I remember this one. Yeah, hey, right into the high, 25. 25%, very lightly traded though. Look, you can just see that through the candles. So when you see these dashes, see how many dashes there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like a halt, but it didn't actually halt. It's just there was no change in the price action for 5 minutes. So a bit of a stair step up. You're going to likely have to deal with a lot of spread on this one. Let's see what ROLR spread is. If we can take a quick look there. It's not showing up. Oh, there it is. So the spread right now, 6 pennies, not too bad for an almost $12 name, ROLR, the ticker there. But there goes HTCO through 24, on the way possibly into 25. Good recovery off that 17.5 low. It's still not, at a level where I take it, but it took out the 24 sellers. So good momentum for this one. 25.87 limit up. Here's 25. This one's on its horse here, guys. About 87 pennies or so, and now it just breached 25. So this one's ripping up here, and we could find this one halting up 25 or so. Resistance right now, can't breach that level. As I mentioned, 25.87. It's showing 37s here on the level 2, Joey. So good strength here on HTCO.
Good stuff, Dan the man. Yeah, I would see if you can get the lower end of the consolidation, right? Then that way you can really get in a good risk to reward. Because if it breaks that, then you can just get out and maybe get a better price. But until you're proven wrong, right? Like if you're buying the top end, you have to give it that multiple dollar. That's just how I think and how I operate. So yeah, I would wait for one. Yeah, anytime, brother. So anyways, I'm just looking here. What I see on the 5 minute, not looking overly promising on Bitcoin as the market was grinding, and then it's just not really doing anything as the momentum really upticked as it started to sell off. So we'll be patient. We'll stick to our stop. But the way things are looking, not great here in the world of Bitcoin. DraftKings continuing to climb higher on the 5 minute. You can see that's a 1 minute time frame. You had that volatility spike, and I thought that, hey, you'd get somewhat of a fade, but off to the races you go and continuing to climb. There goes NVDA starting to creep higher towards that previous pivot high of around 212 level, and then you have the NASDAQ on the backside of this trend, in which we were referring to not too long ago. We want to be patient, wait for that pullback to get in, and then boom, off to the races. We were talking about AMDL. I'm glad that we got out of it. You did have an uptick, but now you're just right back to where we previously entered. I think this name's going to be weak, considering it's been on a 75% run in the past month. That's pretty big, right? Especially for the name that that holds that much market cap, like 500 billion. So that's substantial. 75%. You're adding significant amount of size to that market capitalization number. Now moving forward,
Joey, can I mention something?
Of course.
HTCO's halted up, guys. 26.86. We took 26.15. So we're in the halt right now on HTCO. It's ripping through 25. It ripped through 24. And now the top is showing 27. Let's see how this cookie crumbles. We're going to try to take this in for another halt up if it allows me. But 26.86, Joey, halt time, 12:25.43. The earliest will be open is 12:30.43.
Good stuff. Yeah, man. Nice. Hopefully you catch that halt up as well too.
Hopefully,
You're in it. You're in one right now, and then you're looking for it to open up, halt right away, essentially.
Yes, sir.
Pretty much. Yeah. Solid. I like that.
And a roller is ripping up. So whoever called roller, sorry, I have a very, very short-term memory. Great call out by you. Roller is going here. Roller ROLR is up, man. Sorry, Joey, I just got to cover this quickly because it's really going. Great move. We were talking about this one, 11 and change. It just ripped up to 12.50, dropping a little bit now into 12 and 3/4. But ROLR, decent midday breakout here. And quite frankly, look at the volume profile on the bottom right of your screen. It is making higher highs on the volume profile. So, the volume is really certainly not slowing down at these levels. Something to look out for here on ROLR.
Good call there, Gaurav. Nice, smart. Just leaving a little bit on for a runner. See if you can get rocking and rolling there. We're still waiting for a little bit of a breakup. You can see that we do have these consistent lower highs on IBIT. We can use these to pivot. If we sit on the back side of this, then maybe we can head a little bit higher into that 43.60 mark, which is going to be one of our primary targets, giving us a little bit more than a one-to-one. But we're out right at 41, so it's like very, very tight risk on this trade. Hopefully trying to catch the low of this consolidation zone. RORL, yeah. So I hope everyone's having a good one. CCL popping up on the scanner. There's a couple small cap names that I had my eye on earlier in the day. We'll stick with SOX S. How have you been performing 3x daily? Straight up into the right. Intel starting to come back in a little bit with it. The multiple upgrades last week, with also a target increase to the 90s in Intel. OGN, okay. Oregon. Anyways, Nokia with an upgrade this morning. NVDA, we were talking about that throughout the whole session, and we will touch base on it multiple more times throughout the day. MU, how have you been performing coming off of that 532 high? Now we're just being patient to see if we can, this shelf that we're forming, don't love it, but maybe we can break through as the market is grinding and we're not really participating in this Bitcoin recovery, considering, this momentum, I was talking about it not too long ago, so significantly stronger to the downside. All right, so we have to take that into consideration. The more we just hover and not kind of breach through ebb and flow and then slowly grind, the less that I like it. And then this can just be a consolidation before it establishes a new low of the day, right? Just absorbing, catching some of the longs, and then boom, clean flush down into that 43.20 mark. I think that has to be taken into consideration, so we're prepared to get out if the trade doesn't want to work out for us. And you can see that we were once green, now turning into a bear session. So we're holding off of a couple of days high, prior high. Let's see if this level can hold up for us. 43.80 printing 43.70s on the bid. So we're just flat right at the money, as Fleet would say. Now, as moving forward, XLY, have you been doing here today? Is that discretionary? Okay, I thought it was staples. Yeah, that is discretionary. How's XLP been doing here today? Ooh, to the downside. How's our friend Walmart been doing? Ooh, not too good here, Sharif. Let's take a look at this one from a daily and see what we got going on here on the weekly, WMT. Slightly off of those highs of 134, 128. I wouldn't be surprised if we can catch a little bit of a bid and continue to grind in Walmart.
We got another 20 seconds or so before roller may or may not open up. Let's see what we get. We're showing a top now of 27.62, halt level 26.86. Continuing to watch. What time is it? We got 2 seconds. Let's go. Let's see. Do we get an open? There it is, into another area high. Let's see if we can wet the beak here on some profits. No continuation now. It is failing, so it should have definitely put a market on open order there. Joe's going to call me out on that again. All right. Here's 27.50. Looking for a bigger move now. Let's see if the bid can move above 27. The ask is, but not the bid. So the bid's failing. Anything below 26 ends the trade for me. I'm in at 15s, and we're going to have to give up a little bit there. So we'll take break even on that one. Yeah, should have definitely done a little bit better on this one. Full disclosure. Should have definitely put in a market on open order. We did get into 28s, but the spread was ridiculous. So when I came to take the print, there was no continuation, but it is failing now. It's about to breach prior bar level.
Let me ask you something on that. So so you can see the tap on it.
Mm-hmm.
What if you just post up a limit order a couple of pennies low? It
have
won't
to be. It won't send.
It will, okay, yeah. That's what I was curious because I was thinking, okay, maybe you could just instead of going our market on open or limit on open, you could just limit once it opens. It triggers like a couple of.
See, like on your platform or mine, it'll do that.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So if you throw in a limit order on IBIT, it'll take it. But if you
it.
do it here, no, it won't. Guys, roller just dropped off a cliff. 1285. It's lost it by $1. That's ugly, man. You dropped from in 1285 in two 1 minute candles. Sorry. So in the span of 2 minutes, we just dropped off big 1285 down to 1185, trying to work back above $12 now. So roller, look, it's still in play. But, you know, much like all its other siblings that trades on the Amex, this one is under probation until stated otherwise, quite frankly, because it is an Amex name and they tend to be a little bit bamboozling, but good volume coming in late into the day here. I want to say the last 15 to 20 minutes has brought in the majority of the day's volume. We are up above now 2 million shares traded, with the majority of that, I want to say, being done in the last half an hour or so. Keeping an eye on these ones. APC as well, ABSI, continuing to curl up. This is a very slow mover. So if you're going to involve yourself in this name, couple of things. Firstly, we're right at that intraday resistance. 460 has been a very, very staunchly resistance level, but we've got a great looking bull flag here that we could break through. And if we do, you know, you could see the $0.75, if not the whole dollar at 5. So ABSI, good hold right around $0.50, but you're only like 9 pennies in the money, and you're probably holding this for the better part of 40 minutes, excuse me. So maybe not the most momentum name around in the business. Let's throw in ROLR's ticker over here, as I didn't throw that in. Yeah, so roller, you know, nothing for me to do there quite yet. YAS, YAAS, heading back into highs, Joey. So we'll keep, or not highs, but into that resistance level at around 160. So we'll keep tabs on that. But I did some kettlebell training yesterday. Now that Katina man brought it up, I want to show my kettlebell workout. Right now that we have a little bit of time over here. So I did alternating kettlebell swings. That's number one. So just where you're flipping them hand in hand. And then what I really like doing, the only reason I use dumbbells for the next workout, dumbbell snatches, is because when I use the kettlebell snatches, which I wanted to do to kind of keep the kettlebell theme, the kettlebell will smash on my watch every single time when I flip it up, whereas the dumbbell doesn't. And then we did round the bodies. Have you ever done these?
I've never
done.
Where
you're just literally taking the kettlebell and you're throwing it around your body.
That's good. That's good. Hand-eye.
Hand-eye, number one, great for core strength and actually good for shoulder mobility because your shoulders are just spinning around. So I want to show this over here. Let's bring it in. There's Mrs. Melania Trump and on the gram. Let's show this over here. Where's my thing? Home? I don't even know where it is.
Pull it up.
Oh. Yeah, there we go.
Francesco.
There we go, my guy. So these are the kettlebell swings right there. So look at that, just throwing those up. That's 72 pounds. So it's not that light. And then the next one's going to come up in a second. What I do, this is the dumbbell snatches that I do, and I love these. Great for shoulder mobility as well, and a lot for your linear chain. These are the round the worlds. I love this workout, man. You do it for both arms. So you go one way, you do like 20, 15, flip back the other way, right? And then, we're going to do a little segment every day.
Oh, the workout segment.
Workout, my boy. All right. No, I don't miss leg day, man.
There goes NVDA, man. What a dog. All-time high right now on the day. About to tap into 213. Really good looking. Bitcoin heading lower as the market's climbing a little bit higher. So we might have to get out of this one and see if we can re-engage later. That one didn't really work out. So, yeah, I mean, AMD got a little bit of an uptick, but just the way this 5-minute this pattern is just looking like an ABCD pattern to the downside. I thought, considering there was some buying pressure in here, off to the downside it goes. But there goes NVDA, new all-time high right there. I said it was only a matter of time, and that's why I was a buyer of this name. See if it's going to continue to climb. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes on a big-time run. 230s. We'll take 300s, obviously, but we don't want to get too optimistic and too ahead of ourselves. But a good look. All right, we like seeing this here. It was only a matter of time. The larger names participating, helping drag the overall market whatever Saylor did and bought some more 3,200 Bitcoin. That's doing absolutely nothing for the price action here today. Down 1.3% and looking like it wants to continue to bleed. All right, what are you doing here, Bitcoin? It's probably going to do an additional fake out, so let's just get out. We'll take a couple of cents. That's absolutely nothing there. And then we'll wait for it to curl over if it has to do an additional liquidity grab, and we'll re-engage one more time on this one. AMD looking primed for a potential bounce here, so maybe we take one more stab on AMD as well too, Shree.
Sounds good, Joey. I don't have anything, guys. We'll just cover the names that you want to cover because, hey, nothing's moving, you know. We're going to keep an eye on Roller. If Roller wants to come back down, hold, you know, that 1175.12, we'll get involved in that one. But there's really nothing going on right now, and we can't really control that, sadly. So we're going to keep an eye out on that. Yeah, great comments there by you guys in the chat, especially the individual. Coffee Black 905, love this comment here. For kettlebells and add in halos, chops, and windmills. Great core and shoulder workout. I'm taking a picture of that, of your comment, just so that I can actually explore what those are. So my buddy does a lot of kettlebell certification for trainers. Like he's been doing kettlebells for the better part of 20 years. So I actually met with this guy on Saturday, and he was kind of giving me the ABCs of kettlebell training. Now, you think it's sort of quite self-explanatory, right? But there's so much of the power generation that has to come from your hips. Whereas, you know, when you're moving your arms, you're more prone to want to generate power from your arms. Not so with kettlebells. A lot of it is correlated, and it's kind of why I like it, because you're basing it on both the upper body and the core. So definitely ends up working a little bit to your favor there. Trav, man, I don't know what that means, brother, but yeah, shout out to you. I don't know why you're looking there anyway, bro. Golf franchise, GPRN Daily, starting to show squeeze signals. Let's take a quick look at GPRN, man.
What's Trav, man, saying?
He said some funky stuff. GRPN.
All right, man.
1550 area high, not my cup of tea, I gotta tell you. It's only up 4 1/3. It's only done about 547,000 shares on the day. It's got a good looking chart pattern. Not trying to hate on that, but just too sparsely traded. If it holds up at 15 1/4, even with the spread that it has under its belt right now, that could be a bullish sign where you're kind of getting that breakout. I want to say from around 1490, give or take, where that flat top break happened, and then you kind of get a bit of a bull flag with a bit of a range, 1530 to the downside, about 1550 to the upside on GPRN. Keep your eye out for that. But other than that, you know, it's just not my cup of tea. But there goes HTCO right back into the day's high, or to the area high here. And this is where we were trying to take it out last time, right? Right around 28, and now it's ripping through 28. 29.35 is the halt level. That's limit up. Let's see if this one can breach 28 on the bid and the ask. Right now, it's above on the ask, but not necessarily the bid, Joey. So let's see if we can kind of move there and then use 28 as possible support.
Yeah, absolutely. So there it goes, continuing to climb. And new, once again, we'll probably do it a couple of times throughout the intraday session. I just figured that at that pace, it was only a matter of time until you ran into that neck of the woods. You had other names that were putting in that marker, and sure enough, there it goes, 213.46, new all-time high, lengthy consolidation, and now we're starting to finally break out. So this is the name that I was picking for the next buying opportunity. Glad that we got out of this Bitcoin. Can't break this trend. We'll allow it to curl over, and then maybe we can find somewhat of a recovery here on the day, but it doesn't seem to be the narrative as Bitcoin is weak. Tech names strong as we had Google continuing to climb. Tesla right back into this morning's pre-market zones as well. So boom, look at that move. We marked out this 374.22 level. That was a prior pre-market support. We ran right into it and slowly starting to stall out. Google on the 5-minute. Where's the volume weighted average price? We're way above that. Consolidating. I know Bo Dean was asking about this. It was like, hey, you buy that breakout, you get a little bit, but even so, it's so hard for me personally to chase it, but with a strong name like that, micro dips, micro pullbacks, and then off to the races it goes. Can we take one more attempt on AMD? I think so. I was waiting for a pullback, but let's just get involved on this. We'll go a little bit more size than last time, just in case it does want to recover. So what I'm looking for is a lagging name. If it cracks the lows, I love the positioning, right? Because if it breaks the low, you're relatively close to it. You don't have to give it that wide of a stop. Once it cracks, then you just get out of dodge if it doesn't recover in time. We do have that downtrend break with the market continuing to climb. Bitcoin moving lower Remember, I talked about this shelf. We don't like shelves. When shelves are being formed, it's like, uh-oh, that is a recipe for disaster unless the name is extremely strong, and that's not the narrative in Bitcoin. Man, oh man, strong stuff here in NVDA. That was a missed opportunity on the day. I'm glad that you grabbed the low of the day, Gorev. A nice look on that front. So let's be patient. There it goes, cracking to the downside now, down 1.4% on Bitcoin. Glad that we got out of that early, just reading price action. It could have obviously went one way or the other, but nonetheless, let's see if we can get something going here in AMD. Adara.
Beware here, guys. More comments coming here on the Strait of Hormuz. Nothing massive, but MS now reporting, citing the head of the International Maritime Organization, that 20,000 seafarers and 2,000 ships are stranded due to the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. So again, reports here on the impacts of the Strait of Hormuz, again on 20,000 seafarers and 2,000 ships. Just keep an eye here in USO, pretty range bound. Always waiting for the next headline here. So stick with us at Trader TV Live for all of the updates you need to know. Back to you.
All right, watching HTCO here, trying to take out 30. There's aggressive buying at these levels. Well, we're going to get in a little bit here. We're going to give it to 28. Let's see. We can add into this position if it really goes. There's 29. Let's watch to see if we can really rock it up. We got 29s on the dot. Really bad entry there. The spread is very, very tough. There it goes through 29 momentarily. Let's see if we can add into this position. I don't really want to take out anything here as opposed to add. Let's see what this one has to offer. Let's kind of just see if it wants to hold up above 28. 28's been a bit of a resistance level, but nice move up above 29, looking for a deeper 29 push here. So we're seeing it on the ask. We're not seeing it on the bid. There it goes into 29.32, but there's no continuation. The bid remains below 29, and down it goes again. So let's see if this one wants to continue up. Just pack in the patience over here. Nothing for me to do. And there it goes into 30. Very aggressive move here. Look at the spread really open up, though. And there it goes into 30.5. Now it's ripping. And there is 30.5, 30.60. There's 31. Limit up at 31.11. Perfect freaking timing into HTCO. Good trade here. Let's see if this is going to halt. We got 29 on the dot. It's showing 31.33 on the bid. HTCO, it ripping up. And it's about a couple of shekels below the high of the day. Good entry here on HTCO. We're still holding the majority of the position. Let's see if we can get a little bit more. What a rip up here on HTCO. What got me back into this trade is the buyer at 28. It kept dipping into 28 and the bid would not drop below that. And if it did, it was like showing 99s and then immediately retracing it above. So HTCO halted up 31.11. Let's hope that this one has a bit of a better halt, kind of reopen than the prior one did. Now showing 31.50 halt time. 12:43.48. The earliest will be open is 12:48.48. They come in waves of 5. Good look here on HTCO, finally getting a bit of a bigger move. And now we have a bit of a backstop with that 29 entry. So pleased with this trade. Hopefully we can do a little bit more damage here on HTCO. What a gnarly move off 17.5, that area low. And since we put in that 17.5 area low, we are up 78% from that move. So nothing to complain about here. We're going to look for a little bit more. Just hopefully not as choppy is the reopen on HTCO again in at 29, showing 31.11s right now. So good look on HTCO. Thank you, Mr. Ducats. All right, continuing to watch Roller as well, ROLR, right back down into VWAP, and it did breach the 10 EMA on the 5, but trying to retrace above it. ROLR was rocketing up midday. It had the majority of its volume come in at about 25 after 20 after 12. But hey, you know how these ones rock, right? Into area highs, and then all of a sudden they're into area lows, right? So ROLR, we'll keep a close eye on that one, and if warranted, especially if it starts changing trend, we'll get back in to this monster. But right now, we're going to keep a close eye on HTCO, Joey.
She's a roller, yeah.
The rolling.
No, she's a high roller, baby.
Oh, yeah. Who's High Roller?
Who sings that, man? That's a song. I know who sings that song, guys. I got to listen to it.
The chat will know for sure.
The chat will know for sure. She's a roller. Yeah. All right, guys. There it is in AMD. Nice little move to the top side. Let's see if we can get some continuation here today. Waiting for the chat to tell me who's singing it. No, that's not Limp Bizkit. That's the one that Sharif was singing. It was an April Wine. Yeah, she's a roller. Thank you, Coffee Black. Speaking of coffee, yeah, this is the jitter juices got me 100% here today, Sharif. Not even gonna lie on that one. Pardon?
What?
The jitter juice.
Jitter juice.
Coffee. Yeah. It's got me. Yeah, I'm not having the greatest time, to be honest with you. But anyways, nonetheless, let's see what we got, guys. Tesla continuing to climb. New all-time high there on NVDA. We want to see our AMD start to recover a little bit more before we decide to take any off. You did get that move up into 3165s and now starting to chop around as the market is climbing, and we are not necessarily right there. Joey Jits. Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, they are very bad. Want to be traded.
Do you actually get jitters from them?
Big time. Yeah, like I currently have them.
When I went on vacation, I didn't have any coffee. I had coffee on the first day only, right? And then I'm like, all right, so if I come back, it's gonna hit, right?
Yeah, it didn't hit.
But it did after I came back from Aruba.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, because I didn't have coffee on that trip as well. Came back, had one here, my crack in a cup as I call it, and woo! I was flying,
That's
but
why everybody likes it.
I don't understand why it didn't happen last time, man.
It's super catchy, yeah. All right, man, come on, AMD, man. Why aren't you participating on this little uptick? Now the market moves, and then sure enough, it starts to sell along with it. I think we can get a rebound. We just probably have to sit in this trade a little bit longer. I want to play a break of that 3165, and we can head into 75s and get a little bit more than a 2-to-1, essentially on that specific trade. But nonetheless, you have to one step at a time. You have to be patient and wait for that opportunity. It's been over an hour of just consecutive buying here in Tesla. Like this buy program is in full effect, Sharif. Right off of these 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100. Oh my God, over an hour and a half essentially there on Tesla, straight to the upside. A couple more strong upticks, and then sure enough, we'll be able to take a little bit of profit here on this AMDL trade. You can see that the tape is looking slightly stronger. We got to take a look at the actual underlying asset though to see what we got going on. Reflects relatively close, but bang, there it goes. Nice uptick there, Sharif, in AMD. Let's see if we can get this to continue. All
right, we're showing 31.18s here. For 31.11s now, so basically the same price. I put a market on open order, 31.47 now for HTC. We'll still have some shares. Should be opening up momentarily in about 10 seconds. 12.43.48 was the halt time. It is now 39.41. 42. It should be coming in here momentarily. Let's see what we get. Won't get upset. Looking for that move. There's the print. Nothing prints, of course. Why would it, right? There we go. We'll take a B quitter there, looking for continuation. Anything below 29 ends the trade for me. I'm in at 29 on the dot. I'm looking for another halt up. It's 31.84 high. It's losing. It looks like it might be losing 30 here. I was looking definitely for 30 to hold. There it goes into 31, Joey. Here we go again, looking for limit up. Limit up. Can't quite see 31.33. Let's see if we can take out day high. There it goes, 33.80. Limit up, 33.80. We're close. Here comes 33. No continuation on this. Here comes 32.80. Looking for a move into 33. We're in at 29, ending it here. Good trade. Okay, not bad, not bad. It definitely takes a little bit off the table there. So good move here for HTCO. Look for a breach of 33, 33.80 limit up. So still watching, seller at 42 here. They killed him, Joey, into 33. That's the high of the day now. Ripping up his HTCO. Watch for a drop back down. Wow, just as I said it, it lost it from 32 right into 30. That's ugly, man. 28.60, limit down. So if we lose 30 here, we're losing 30 in a hurry. Wowzers. Into 29 2/3. We could see the $0.50 momentarily. Yeah, just continuing to watch. I want to see if 30 holds up because I see 30 as a flat top, right? We only have one closing print on the 5 that actually closed above 30, and that is the candle that we halted up on at 12.40. That was the only one that closed above $30. So there's definitely a buyer here at 30. Now you're going to have to deal with the 50 penny spread, which is quite frustrating to get your fills, right? Especially if you're scalping these small cap gappers. There's definitely a buyer here at 30, guys, but it did breach again, so you will have to give this room where to 29.50, 29.40. There's really no very clear signal. You can give it to below 28, where I definitely see the original resistance, but that means you're going to have to size down a little bit here in order to hold on to your parameters. So Bovin says, I'm seeing 30% of short interest on HTCO. I don't know, brother. Let me double check here with my platform. I'm not exactly sure at the moment. I'll check for you and get back. But I just want to watch the price action here at the moment, because this could be another entry. Here we go again, 31.31. Here comes into about 31 2/3. There's 2/3, looking for 32 again. Recall, it's a 33 high a day, right? So 32 still means, I don't want to say it doesn't mean much, but you've got another dollar there that you have to deal with in terms of resistance. So we'll watch that one, Joey. Let me just pull up the information here, and then I'll get back to Bovin on that. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, we had 3180s printed there. I wasn't posted up just yet. I was going to see if we can get a little bit more stronger of an uptick, and then we break through that level, and then I would take some 3180s. Doesn't seem to be the case, but a nice partial sitting on half of the position right now, and that's what we did, right? Like, so you take 20 cents to the downside. We wait to take some off before we hit until we hit that 1-to-1, and then now we're holding 50%. So a little bit longer than that, 1 1/4 here. We'll take that one, not too bad, and let's see if we can continue to climb. Ooh, Heaven 4426.
See that?
$20 super chat.
Just made
1K on HTCO. Thanks. Solid at 31. Were you going on about HTCO? Oh, you're in that one.
No, I'm not. I'm out. I got out.
You
here.
were in that one.
There it goes. 34.06, guys. 34.60 limit up. We're showing 34. The ask is showing 34.80. All right, the limit up move. 34.95 limit up. It's a 34.80 high of day. We're at 34.20. There's a seller in and around the quarter to a third of a dollar on HTCO. Very, very strong, very directional here. Finally, this one, you know, you could have written this one off, right? Because it double topped at 30, lost it, went all the way down to 17.5. What a recovery. You don't typically see these recoveries, especially the ones that come from the depths of hell, from which this one came, 17.50. I wouldn't have earmarked it to make a 34.80 high a day in, you know, less than an hour, and that's exactly what it did. 34.95 limit up is still the price over here. Shout out to Heaven 4426. He dropped in 20 nice ones in the chat. He made a cool. Yeah, I know. I want to read it again, Assassino, because he's trading the same one I'm trading. Made a cool 1K on HTCO. Cool. Sold at 31. That's my man. Cool. Your friend Bovin there is also in at 23. Shout out to the OG Bovin. Bovin, Perplexity, and this is where I'm getting my short interest from, is telling me there's about 787,818 shares borrowed short as of the 15th of April. So a little dated. That's about 11.8% of the float with about 1.6 days to cover. HTCO, at least on my platform, the float is showing as, give me a sec, I'll just tell you what I'm seeing here as the float, not the short float. I'm seeing 3.5 million shares. Yeah, that's not bad. About 3.5 million shares there. It's either between 3.5 or 7.2, because sometimes it tells me outstanding is a float, and then sometimes the float is actually the float. I'd explain that, but it's a waste of time trying to explain these
what is going on
things on IB, because some of them don't make sense. But this is the only one here, Joey. This one is really ripping up, and it looks fantastic. So the problem is, it could just drop $2-3 at a time. So you're gonna have to manage that with proper risk parameters there. So great job, guys. Whoever took HTCO, good on you guys. I don't think this one's done. 34.80 high. We could see 35. If not, if it blows through 35, we're probably going to 40. Like, to be quite honest with you, it's only up 190%. And I use that, you know, I say that jokingly, but I don't at the same time. We've seen ones go 300, 400, 500, 600, 700 last week, right? So 190. Although great, of course, and whoever took that whole 190, chapeau, but we could see a lot more here. We could be at 40, we could be at 45 by the end of the day. And if you're small cap gapper inclined and you have the time, and this one is still going late into the day, stick around in the aftermarket, because a lot of these ones have a real tendency to rip up to no end in the aftermarket, because of course there's no volatility halt parameters after 4, as there isn't before 9:30. Same thing. So.
All right.
Keep that in mind.
let's trail this stop here on the downside. Bang, we'll get all out of that AMD trade. A nice little pop up to the top side. We'll take that one as the market was starting to downtick, and then sure, yeah, I know, Mike B, man. It's these things. If I drink it too early in the morning, it's just complete caffeine crash. Nation over here. No, aside from that, guys, a nice little scalp on AMD. Let's be patient and see. There it is, another uptick. Do we re-engage in some Bitcoin longs off of these lows here as we starting to form a base right at that 4340 level? We're still climbing higher, slight uptick in Tesla. You have that pop-up and you have that poke through into NVDA, now starting to come in off of that 212.64, so you have an all-time high around that 213.77 level. Bang, we like that. Cha-ching. The long-term accounts are going to like that one because it's a widely held name. All right, so where's the next opportunity? What do you got? Shorted the TQs up there, Katina, man, nice. You're going to re-engage on that trade. Yeah, Stockhead, man, you're wilding out today. No, obviously that would be crazy. Nor do I partake in any of that stuff. That's not me, man. My body can't even handle caffeine, let alone that other stuff. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, lightweight, man. Super lightweight. Just hit the gym and chill out a little bit. Nonetheless, guys, let's head over to our scanner and our watch list to see if we, yeah, exactly, Dan R, you know it. Let's see if we can find anything. But one thing that I need to start doing is drinking coffee with a straw. Why? Because it stains the pearly whites, and we don't want that. All right, we got to keep the teeth as white as possible. And considering, like, how many do I have? 4 fake ones. Thanks, hockey. Thanks. Anyways, aside from that, yeah, man, 3 of them knocked out at once. A lot of this one, boom, pushback, fight, pushback. Anyways, nose push to the side, boxing, that is. But nonetheless, all right, I've been rambling on. What was that one song there? She's a Roller. Yeah, who is it? Somebody who sings that song again one more time. There's SMR, a nice little recovery. There goes my ADHD brain just jumping all over the place once again. But nonetheless, SMR, sure enough, holding up this trend line and continuing to climb back towards the high of the day. Mara, I actually was doing some options reporting on this thing, showing a little bit of bullish sentiment, but doesn't seem to be the case right now, as it's putting in a new LOD, and so is Bitcoin. Just too weak right now to find a long. If there is one, it might come around that 2 o'clock hour. We'll continuously keep our eye on it, see if there's anything for a rebound opportunity in the land of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. MGM, shout out to Bet MGM. I don't know if that's the case, but 40.26 holding that bull flag base. Not too bad of a look there. Was there? Did I see a guy from work point in? Yeah, there we go. You gotta try smelling salts. We take those for hockey, my friend. Smelling salts. They don't really do anything to me, really. I don't know why everybody thinks that they wake them up. I just hit the smelling salt in the container, and then it's just like, oh, okay, that just didn't smell very good. All right. You ever hit?
I've never actually used.
Tried smelling salts? Yeah, it just didn't have that effect on me.
I see a lot of people using them for PRs. They'll take it before they do a PR.
And they'll just hit the smelling salt?
They'll do it before they hit the PR. Yeah.
Okay.
I've never.
The fresh ones are strong, but it's just like, okay, why would I? It's just like, it burns a little bit, and then.
Does it actually?
Yeah, it's hard. Like a brand new one, fresh out of the package. Like boys on the hockey team, you just pass around the salts, and then you couple whips, and everybody's like, oh, let's go. But it never really had that effect on me. All right, let's get right back into these markets as Katina Man is short the NASDAQ once again, looking for some move to the downside. Let's see, Joey Option need a, oh, no. Stop saying that, guys. Jeez Louise. There's IBIT. They're saying, I'm not even going to repeat it. Anyways, APLD, how have you been performing on today's session? Not good. So the market, not the best here today. Slightly, pretty choppy if you ask me. You can see that we have a lot of overlapping candles. You do have somewhat of a recovery, but now you're just hovering around VWAP. But Tesla doing opposite market things as it's continuing to climb, looking like it wants to punch through some of these resistance zones. So not too bad of a look there. I see my guy from work, Lele. Could you review INTC and SPY? Absolutely anything for you, Lele Love. We're not allowed to call her anything else. Intel. I mean, you can't really go wrong in this name, right? Like, well, you can, obviously, but just the way that it's been trading lately, how are you going to go against the grain on a name that's almost doubled? It has doubled, essentially, in the span of 3-4 weeks. So 102% from the start of the month, going from $40 at that low all the way up to $84, 104%. That's a pretty big move if you ask me. So Intel, you might get some form of a pullback, and I was kind of referring to, and the same in AMD, you have a breach of the trend, or of this gap. So now you come into that 330 mark. Our boy Adam James is saying all the way down to 180. That would cut the stock in half. But I think you can see something respectable around a $317 mark, or even $300 here on AMD. That was a ferocious move to the top side in advanced micro devices.
Good call, Joe. Good call. All right, we're going to start the news segment soon. We got Sia on the ones and twos. It is about 1 o'clock. There's a lot to talk about today, guys, so no shortage of things to discuss. So many different market-moving headlines. You got the semis extremely strong. Again, we'll be getting into that. But I'm back in here into HTCO 3079. I just went to peak at 3150, and here comes 3174. Looking for a bigger move up. Let's see if we can kind of price spike up, take out that 3250 where there was a lot of selling. 3168 right now showing up on the time and sales. No continuation. We'll what the beak here. Unreal spread. Look at that. I offset it by like, I think 30 or 40 pennies. And now it's coming right back down below 31. Let's see what kind of continuation we get. I'm looking for a 30 hold. So now there's a seller at 31 here. Very, very unusual price action. So this one is going to lose the bid. Let's see if it loses 30. I don't want to see this through. Let's see. They're right back into 31. No continuation again. So shorts setting up at around 31. Let's see if they continue to be staunchy at that $31 level. Nothing getting taken off the size here at $31. It's not printing anything above that level. So there's an aggressive seller at 31 bucks on HTCO. We can't really shake them at the moment anyway. I want this to resolve. So let's see how this ends up going. Doesn't look good on the 5-minute chart, but there it goes, ripping up again, 31 1/4. That's only on the ask, though. There's nothing above 31 on the bid. The spread is just, it opens up 50 pennies wider at times. There it is, 31 1/3 again. Let's see if we can get into 32.50. There's the beak wetter there. There's 31.50. Looking for another move here into 32. Now there's 31.70. Okay, 69 technically. There's 83. We're in at 30.79. Looking for continuation here into 2. Just trying to, pack the patience. This is a good-looking candle here with $30 support. However, this current candle doesn't have a higher high quite yet. In fact, it has a lower high as well. So we're going to take it out here at the $0.50 so we can start the news. But HTCO, make some money back on that one. Still red on HTCO as a result of some boneheaded trades earlier, but definitely cut the losses a little bit more manageable on this one. So we're going to keep an eye on this one, because if it sets up again at 30, I'm a buyer, especially if it holds up. Assassino, we're ready to start the news segment with Sia.
Our first story is that China has blocked Meta from acquiring Manus AI for $2 billion. China has ordered that Meta Platform's $2 billion acquisition of our AI startup Manus should be fully reversed. Now, China's National Development and Reform Commission has banned the acquisition of that decision and has also been ordered on the grounds of national security, as said by China. Meta representatives have also stated that the transaction has complied fully with all applicable laws of the country and that they anticipate an appropriate resolution to this particular inquiry. What has Manus done? So Manus has developed a sophisticated AI agent capable of writing in-depth research reports and also developing and preparing complex presentation slides. So the inquiry into the sale basically reflects Beijing's broader attempts to protect the country's AI know-how. Now, both the U.S. and China have recently tightened export controls and restricted the exchange of tech professionals to safeguard certain domestic interests. According to Chinese law, any foreign investments that may carry a national security risk are subject to review and potential mandatory reversal. Many of the top executives at Manus are also Chinese nationals, which has added to the regulatory scrutiny over the transfer of intellectual property. And Meta has stated that there would be no continuing Chinese ownership interests in Manus and that the startup would discontinue its China-based services. Currently, Meta trading flat.
Just be aware, guys, Caroline Levitt is currently speaking. White House press briefing scheduled to start at 1 p.m. Usually starts quite a bit later, but it has begun. She is speaking. Once she starts taking questions, I'll let you guys know in the chat. But either way, this White House press briefing is underway. Back to you.
Yeah, so this is an interesting story. So number one, right off the bat, I worry about Meta's agentic abilities because they made this acquisition specifically so that they could move into the agentic phase of AI. So this obviously puts them back a little bit with respect to that. Now whether they can do it internally or they can acquire their way out with a different company if they actually are prohibited from following through with this, we'll have to wait and see. But this story is quite interesting. So it's basically two guys, they're both Chinese, and the company was originally in China. And then they wanted to kind of sell it. So they moved the majority of the company to Singapore and they set up shop there. However, the Chinese regulator is saying, look, you moved it really without our authority and you sold it without our authority. So in our eyes, this company is still Chinese and we still have jurisdiction over this company. And what they also did was they prevented the two individuals that I just mentioned there at the top, Manus, from leaving the country. Essentially, I don't want to say it's another Jack Ma, but it's so they can flex. They can show that we're still, in control of companies that originate in China, and we can control whether they decide to leave. And that is their case in point right there. They do not want these companies starting in China and then, there's a huge exodus outward. They want the technology to remain there, to employ people there, to flourish there, as opposed to it, starting in China and then flourishing in the United States or some other jurisdiction. So this is interesting how it resolves. I think maybe it might form the basis of the Trump-Xi negotiations, which could be,
So you think that has something to do with it?
I'm assuming it probably, maybe not, maybe President Xi posturing ahead of the move here because he knows Meta is obviously one of the biggest companies in the United States, is that and the other, and it could present as part of their negotiation.
What do you think about this as a this accusation, potential accusation?
Accusation?
Yeah, accusation. Sorry. For Meta, like, what does that mean for their employees? Are you going to get more layoffs, considering Manus being that kind of agentic feature within?
That's a good question. The layoffs part I didn't really consider, but the weakness in their AI is already well documented, whether you're looking at it from just a simple LLM or their lack of agentic AI. And this was supposed to I don't want to say cure that, but at least get their foot into the door in terms of agents. And now they're going to either, like as I said earlier, either do it from internal with Alexander Wang and company with a super intelligence lab, or they're going to have to acquire a different company elsewhere and probably pay more.
What's that feature that obviously Super Intelligence Lab just released as of late? What's it called again? The new tool they just released not too long ago. Zuck, it's not.
Oh, is it the video generating one?
No, it might be. It was something where it just like in image generation. I'll look that up momentarily. It's just slipping my mind essentially. But yeah, I mean, this could be a potential roadblock here for Meta, right? Like, just from an agentic standpoint, we already know that they're lagging. So if this deal's not going to get done, maybe what needs to happen is Donald Trump and obviously President Xi need to come to a deal, and then maybe that might open up the doorway a little bit for this to go through.
All right, see ya.
About Qualcomm will be reportedly developing its AI smartphone processors for OpenAI, as we discussed earlier this morning. OpenAI is working with Qualcomm and MediaTek to develop custom smartphone processors, according to Taiwanese analyst Ming-Chi Kuo. Now, Luxshare has been named as the exclusive system co-design and manufacturing partner for this new hardware initiative. The project also aims for the mass production of these AI-centric smartphone processors by the year 2028. The partnership will allow OpenAI to leverage existing supply chains and also focus on the integration of its leading AI models at the chip level. Now, currently, QCOM was trading high at the beginning of the day, up around 11 to 12%. Currently, it is trading flat, up 0.3%.
Quickly before we go on.
No, I was referring to MuseSpark.
MuseSpark. Is it video generating?
No, so it's essentially first model from Meta Super Intelligence Labs. It powers the upgrade Meta AI assistant and is designed to be small and fast while standing more complex. That was the thing. As for power usage, this thing is supposed to be extremely efficient, and they did comparisons with other kind of agentic tools as well too.
So this OpenAI Qualcomm tie-up is quite interesting. I happen to like it because I like when the hardware creator is also the originator of the software. That way you have that vertical integration. And the case in point is really Apple, and why Apple's hardware and software experience dominates, whether you're looking at PC or you're looking at phones, is because of exactly that. The vertical integration. So they create their chips designed to work with iOS, The M series chips are designed to work with Mac OS, obviously, and that seamless integration is what makes their experience so much better than going on a PC, where Windows has to design the software, and then there's like 100 different other suppliers, whether it's for the motherboard, the hard drive, the RAM, the CPU, and every other component in there is sort of this unholy concoction of different suppliers, and then you get the Windows experience that we all know and love, and I say that very, very sarcastically. I think Windows is hot garbage, especially as compared to Mac OS. So I like this strategy that you're going at it from the hardware and software version. That's great. Now, when it comes to Johnny Ives and all these different products that are slated to come out of that tie-up between him and his company and OpenAI, we'll wait and see. Let's get a product prototype out there. Let's see what the form factor looks like, and then we can make a decision. But he wouldn't be the first company that tries to take on Apple in a cell phone, in cell phone competition. Quite frankly, I think it's been hard for a lot of companies to make better cell phone experiences than Apple.
Yeah.
I know a lot try, and we have a lot of Chinese incumbents, Oppo, Honor. You and I always talk about Xiaomi, right? Yeah. Good experiences, but none really reaching the level of Apple. But hey, let's wait and see.
I think wait and see is something that we definitely need to clarify. I don't know, just to add to Sharif's point, I mean, if you have already dominant names here, like Google, and then you have the Android phone. So I don't know, really, right? Like, this could potentially be a pretty big bust. Like, you got to remove people from ecosystems, and I don't know if we're ready to do that yet. I mean, the Apple Intelligence, if you get a release on that, the upgraded version of Siri is more or less what I'm referring to. And that's my big issue. Like, what if you spend a bunch of cash on this and then it becomes a complete dud? Like, how much market share are you looking to actually capture here, Sharif? Because I don't know how much there is. People are integrated into their ecosystems, and that's what you have to do, is you have to remove them. And I mean, like, I'm going to be looking at this from someone, Apple, who's been in the space for so long. And then I'm not going to say Johnny Ives and Sam Altman are these rookies, but that's what they are, essentially coming into this space. And it's like, hey, are we really fearing them? How much can you actually steal from us? And I don't think it's going to be that much, to be, unless it's something that's like, oh my God, oh my God, you need to get this, right? But you're talking about a smartphone, so how, like, what really could we get from it? You know?
Yeah, that's a good point, and that's the thing. I was expecting a different form factor from the Johnny Ive tie-up than a phone. I think when now you're talking about a phone, I think it throws the ball back into Apple's court. That's just my personal opinion. But the second thing is, I would have been a lot more worried if this was 6 or 8 months ago coming from an OpenAI. I feel lately, and you never really know because this is a different division of OpenAI with Johnny Ives coming in, OpenAI has lost its way a little bit, and they're kind of being outdone now by the real big company, Anthropic, obviously taking the enterprise angle. But to be fair, now to kind of contradict myself a little bit, OpenAI focused more on the consumer, Anthropic focused more on enterprise. This is very much a consumer product, if you think, right? Yeah. So we'll see.
I think, honestly, Sharif, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like that next step is like something has to be like a projectable. You know what I mean?
I like that. Yeah.
But then how do you, like, I mean, you can maybe use something, but I think the like a projection, exactly, is what I think hopefully can be the next step. I think it's just super cool, in my opinion.
Great comments in the chat, by the way, guys. I like the thinking here. All right, let's go to Adaira for her take.
Guys, I'm talking about the market reaction here with Qualcomm, because it's really interesting. We had this gap up on Friday for seemingly no news other than Intel sympathy, and it started a little bit after the Intel sympathy move as well. Now, this is pretty interesting because this, like, honestly, pretty much the first thing I thought when I saw this news in Qualcomm today was, as Sean indicated today as well, maybe someone knew something somehow about QCOM a couple days earlier on Friday that led to that gap up. Now, obviously, that's pure speculation, but it is fascinating here how today on Qualcomm you get another gap up, but you give up the entire gap. As of right now, we're trading up like 0.16%. Right? So we basically give up the entire double-digit move. I think that is pretty significant. I think the way this is traded on this news has been quite interesting. So beyond what the actual story is and what it means going forward, I think this is price action we should keep an eye on for QCOM going forward. And I think something that certainly struck me as odd as someone who, A, just looks at a lot of these headlines, and B, tries to keep myself familiar with a lot of these moves. So yeah, QCOM could be an interesting one. If we get more moves like this, you have to wonder if there's some kind of insider action at play.
Sorry about that. All right, Sia, what story we got next?
We're talking about Now, before I just give you the headline, I want to say what this is aiming at. So with the aim of fostering local collaboration, South Korea and Google have now reached an agreement to establish an AI campus in Seoul. So the goal of the campus is to strengthen the partnership between Google and Korean engineers and startups. So the facility will be housed within Google's existing Seoul offices and will serve as a hub for universities and research institutes. Google's DeepMind AI researchers will collaborate directly with Korean counterparts at the site. And Google DeepMind CEO Demis Hassabis and South Korea's Deputy Prime Minister have signed a formal memorandum of understanding to initiate this project. So South Korea has specifically requested that Google deploy at least 10 high-level engineers from its U.S. headquarters to Seoul campus. Hassabis is hoping that the partnership will help train the next generation of talent through its partnerships, through its internships and advanced training programs. He's also described how South Korea has a great industrial base, pointing to its leadership in critical AI value chains, especially in semiconductors. And this will position South Korea as a strategic partner for Google in development of robotics and hardware-integrated AI. South Korea's strength in manufacturing chip production is also seen as a vital asset for Google's broader AI infrastructure goals. Currently, Google on the up, trading green 2.2%.
Just want to mention here as well, Marijuana Moment reporting that the DEA is going to start accepting applications from medical marijuana businesses that want federal rescheduling protections as soon as this week. Not much of a move here. MSOS is not doing too much. ACB and TLRY, but I wanted to give you guys this headline again. The headline is that Marijuana Moment reporting that the DEA will start accepting applications from medical marijuana businesses that want federal rescheduling protections as soon as this week. Back to you.
Yeah, I like this Google South Korea story, for the lack of a better name, for exactly the same reason that I like the Qualcomm OpenAI tie-up. It is, again, vertical integration between the hardware manufacturers. We know that to be the South Koreans, whether you're talking about Samsung and scaling RAM or whatever, DRAM, and processors, or you're talking about SK Hynix, as well as many other South Korean companies. They're excellent in manufacturing the hardware. And now we know the software comes from the US side. In this case, can be Google's DeepMind. So I like that they're working in cohesion together so that the hardware jives with the software, whatever Google DeepMind decides to do here. And that's not really mentioned in the article. We don't really know what their intentions for going over there are from a software perspective. So another, and you see this a lot too, quite frankly. You're seeing this now with custom ASICs as well. Not just because, it's cheaper and more energy efficient, but when hyperscalers pursue custom ASICs, what they're getting is an application-specific circuit.
Yeah.
So it is tailor-made for that specific application.
Yeah.
And if anybody has learned anything from Apple over the years, it is the importance of having software-hardware cohesion.
Yeah, and I think they did a pretty good job with this, in my opinion. Obviously, just getting some of the Korean engineers working on DeepMind just to continue its accelerative growth. To be honest with you, 10 engineers were from Google, from the U.S. headquarters, will be going over there as well, too, which I think is pretty interesting stuff. Nonetheless, I mean, Google's going to be at the top of its class for quite some time, right? Like, we just know what's going on with Gemini. We talk about DeepMind, and then also something that we've stopped talking about as of late is Willow as well too, right? So Willow kind of just a different segment, the quantum computing aspect of Google. So I mean, whatever they got going on, they're putting their right foot forward, in my opinion, and they're going to continue to grow at a substantial rate.
Let's take a look at the morning note over here and see how the trade plan ended up jiving with the actual plan. So the momentum long was very specific. Momentum long, they were looking for 347. Above 347 with volume and a target of 350. And boy, oh boy, did you get that. If you waited for that 347 pre-market high break, you were well rewarded. 347 breakout and the target was 350. You got that in spades. In fact, you got 352. The pullback long didn't quite come in. The pullback long, in fact, the pullback long was freaking money. Look what it says, pullback long, 342 to 343 hold. Joey, can you read the bottom of that one right there?
What does it say?
342.75. If you were looking For a pullback trades that I like don't really like breakout trades as much as I like pullbacks. 342 to 343 hold, continuing setup using EMAs. You were well rewarded. The breakdown trade, it says if it lost 340, you could get a quick move to 335. That didn't come in. But whether you or not, you took that 347 break or you took the pullback long, the morning note was spot on with the Google trade. We're going to be looking at basically all of these. I just figured this would be a good idea to be able to kind of put the morning note to the sword here to see whether or not the levels coming in are actually driving on the day. So we're going to do this now from each one. So there you go, guys. Good call out here by the morning note and right up into that 352.5. See ya.
Talking about Onsemi and NIO next. So Onsemi is officially expanding its long-term collaboration with NIO to support the transition to 900-volt electric vehicle platforms. The partnership leverages ON's elite SiC silicon carbide technology to drive efficiency and performance in NIO's latest lineup. Now, system efficiency and scalability are desired and described as paramount since electrification is entering this new high-voltage phase. The expanded collaboration has been highlighted as a deep engineering alignment between the semiconductor supplier and the automaker. So using the elite SiC technology will enable higher performance levels and significantly improve efficiency for long-range EV platforms. The new high-voltage technologies are featured across NIO's latest EV models, making their debut in the 2026 Beijing Auto Show. The partnership is also designed to provide NIO with a faster time to market for its next generation of EV architectures, and aligned technology roadmaps will allow both companies to co-develop power solutions that will maximize the benefits of silicon carbide. ON's CEO Hassan El-Khoury has emphasized that deep integration is necessary to meet the demanding requirements of 900-volt systems currently on trading flat, and NIO as well trading flat.
Yeah, this is a good. I mean, I got to tell you, I don't really have much to add here to this news item. Improves performance, it improves efficiency and time to market. Some of the strategic benefits of this tie-up. It aligns with the broader industry transition from 400 volts up to like 800 to 900. That's the premium EV differentiation, possibly also margin potential as they can charge a little bit more for that. What I do like about this story, other than obviously NIO gaining a little bit of traction locally there for EV sales, is that it kind of positions Onsemi as a critical supplier in the EV power semis. That competes with like Wolfspeed, it competes with others. So I do like that aspect of it, but there is breaking news. We have to go to Adara.
Caroline Levitt saying that a proposal to potentially reopen the Strait of Hormuz and push back any talks about nuclear has been discussed by President Trump and his security team. She said that she wasn't going to say if the discussions were still happening or not in terms of the talks with the security team. But either way, sounds like we do have the U.S. administration fully aware of and actively discussing that reported deal we mentioned earlier that was being proposed by Iran, basically saying we'll reopen the Strait of Hormuz, but we do not want to necessarily have the conversation about giving up our nuclear capabilities as of yet. So again, proposal currently being discussed. If I get more details, I'll let you know. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that, Adara. Yeah, what's your take on this, Joey? NIO, Onsemi?
Yeah, I mean, there's exactly what you said there, Shreve. It's just meant to improve, essentially, efficiencies, drivetrain improvements, everything, more longevity and further range within the battery. So it's a pretty good look for Onsemi. As for Onsemi, this thing has been on a pretty big run too, guys. Like, you got to take into consideration 70%, 75% off of those lows. So you're seeing it across the board in a lot of these semiconductor names, even the ones that aren't that popular, and that's going to be Onsemi with a substantial run off of the lows. I mean, 20 days from March 30th, right? You can see that low of $52 and you climb up to 97. So you're not far away from 100% return. It's not going to hurt them, this catalyst, that's for sure.
All right, let's look at the technicals here, Assassino. So look what the intraday setup said. So if you want to go long, you're looking for a hold above 640. That didn't happen. It failed 640 immediately. Pull back long, higher low above 620. Look for continuation. It didn't quite do that, but the short was in. Look at this. Rejection of 640 to 650. Fade back to 620. What is, Joey, can you read out that high for me right there?
Where is it, brother?
Right there.
650.
What high is that?
640.
640 on the dot, and look where it finds support. 618. So you would have covered, you would have made plenty. That was a great call out there by the morning note. Short rejection of 640 to 650, fade back to 620. That's the intraday setup. We're not looking at the swing, so always look at the left side when we're talking about intraday. But the morning note calling out Neo almost to the penny. Missed a little bit there, so it should have said 618 short. But it said 620 short. I'm assuming 620 because the closing print on Friday was 621. So probably just thinks that it goes back to break even. But this actually did go negative momentarily, Joey. What are you looking at, brother?
No, we're just getting the breakout here in the market, right? Like we've been sitting in this Bitcoin trade, looking for it to climb a little bit higher. We're getting that. We have Tesla continuing to climb 377. That thing had a low of 364, bounces off that low. So that's been an absolute beast. Oh, Sharif.
Yes, sir.
New all-time high on NVDA? Yes, you're absolutely right. 214.19. This is what I was talking about this morning. You're going to see a big-time move there. But there it goes. IBIT off to the races, off of the lows, participating with this market rally. This is exactly what we want to see. We'll piece a little bit more off right here at 56s. Let's see if we can catch a fill on this bad boy as Bitcoin starting to climb a little bit higher, but the overall market super strong here today.
All right,
well, I should say that's Tesla and NVDA, really.
We're talking about Domino's Pizza's earnings. So DPZ has reported a revenue of $1.15 billion for the first quarter, but it has missed the Wall Street estimate by a whopping $10 million. Total revenue is still up 3.6% year over year, despite falling short of the more aggressive analyst expectations. EPS has fallen 4.6% year over year to $4.13. It has missed the consensus estimate of $4.27 for the quarter. International stores have seen a growth of 4%, while U.S. domestic stores have generated 2.8% growth during this period. Same-store sales are, that is a tongue twister, are 1.5% higher at U.S. company-owned stores and 0.8% higher for franchise locations. Despite the misses, DPZ has also noted that Q1 was another quarter of positive order count and market share growth within the United States. Now, Domino's has experienced a decrease in free cash flow during the quarter, which is attributed to the negative impact changes in the operating assets. The stock is trading within a 52-week range of $346 to $499 range, but it did move close to its annual lows this morning. Now, currently, DPZ in the red, down almost 10%.
Apparently, the short float on this SIA is 10.2% of the total float. That's kind of, I don't know, I mean, you can look at this the way you want, but it feels like that there's significant bearish sentiment among some of the traders here, especially on a big name like DPZ. It looks like as if, you know, what's it called? The corporate-run stores were operating a little bit better than the ones that were owned by franchises, as they performed a little bit better, 1.5% for the company-owned stores, 0.8% for franchise locations. We're going to pause for a second. There's breaking news with Adair.
Yeah, just be aware here, guys, DIS dropping. President Trump just called on Disney and ABC to fire Jimmy Kimmel because he was unhappy with comments that were made about the Trump family on Jimmy Kimmel's show, I believe on Friday. So either way here, guys, DIS to the downside. President Trump basically saying here that he would like Disney and ABC to fire Jimmy Kimmel immediately. So that's why we got this drop here in DIS. I also want to mention here, looks like Caroline Leavitt just ended her press conference. She has in fact left the podium. So I will summarize a couple of remarks here that she mentioned specifically about Iran that I think are of note. For one, as I mentioned earlier, she did say, and this is when we got this kind of spike in oil, that President Trump and his security team are currently reviewing a proposal from Iran that would allow for the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, but also would table some of these nuclear capability discussions. She said that she can't confirm that President Trump and his administration are considering the proposal, but they are talking about it, and we'll hear from Trump and Iran soon. Furthermore, she could not confirm or deny, A, if we had any of these mines removed from the Strait of Hormuz, and B, how many mines were removed or were not removed. Back to you.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. So that's kind of the only thing that I really have to say about that. I mean, I don't have much to say positive about DPZ. It's not something that I follow all that closely. Margin pressure as well. Think about input costs with food going, the cost of food going up because of energy. That could eat into margins. I'd like to know why the corporate stores were operated a little bit more efficiently than the what's it called? Than the franchise-owned stores. Also, looks as if their same-store sales did decent. what's it called? International sales saw growth of 4%, while U.S. domestic stores generated 2.8% growth. So the international market growing a little bit more aggressively. I'd like an explanation as to why. Is that consumer preferences in the U.S., or is it cost pressures on some consumers maybe deciding to eat in? You know, some things to worry about there.
Yeah, a lot of questions. Yeah, but one thing I want to obviously talk about, more promotions, right? What does that lead to? Shreve, you just mentioned margin compression, right? Even though they're stating that they're grabbing market share, the space is getting a little bit crowded. Didn't someone offer to buy Papa John's, I believe, not too long ago? So at the end of the day, it's a tough space, and if you have too many deals, you're going to see that margin compression really kick in, and that's not going to be good for essentially your top and bottom line. So yeah, not too much to say really on Domino's. The stock hasn't been performing well either, Sharif. I mean, it hasn't even been close to climbing off of the highs. $500, you're down to $333, so that's a 33% haircut in Domino's Pizza. So yeah, I don't know if it's going to be a race to the bottom, because I don't know if it's going to be a race to the bottom essentially with some of these pizza names.
All right, let's look at the technicals on this is Tesla. Tesla's ripping up, by the way, and I don't know why, but it is absolutely ripping up. Tesla double bottom into 365. It's now about to hit into 379. In fact, I think it just got into 379. So good look for Tesla. But let's look at DPZ. Let's look at what the trade setup was. So the short was a bounce into 358 to 362. Look at that. It didn't bounce at all. So look to the next one. Breakdown. If you lose 350, momentum short extension. Look at that flat bottom break. Come in at 350, area hold at 605, hold all the way until 8:10 a.m. and it loses 350 quite aggressively, doesn't even look back, and the low of the day is right around this 328 area. That's exactly what the breakdown was showing you there, the breakdown trade under the trading plan. Good look here for the shorts on DPZ. DPZ, by the way, short sale restricted, down 9.33%. Fantastic breakdown today, following the exact trading plan on the morning note. Shout out. Sia's not here. Okay, so we'll just go on to the next story then.
Talk about it. Let's talk about love.
Vertiv expanding AI cooling stack with Strategic Thermal Labs deal. So Vertiv is acquiring Strategic Thermal Labs. That's STL. Vertiv VRTV or VRT, I think. VRT. Let me just double check. Yeah, VRT. For Vertiv, they're adding liquid cooling and thermal validation capabilities at the AI chip server interface. The deal directly targets AI infrastructure bottleneck that includes heat density as well as cooling efficiency in high-performance compute. STL, though, here's what they're bringing to the table. Cold plate design, liquid cooling expertise, and simulation validation tools. That obviously helps shave off a buck or two in the R&D, but it does strengthen their full stack infrastructure offering. Vertiv is positioning itself sort of as that end-to-end AI data center provider. We mean like they give you the power, they give you the cooling, they give you the lifecycle services. So full stack from top to bottom, management emphasizing the rising AI compute intensity, as well as the thermal challenges now at the chip level, which is getting worse and worse because they're getting better, these chips, right? Which means they're heating up, is critical to becoming, a critical constraint. Management strategy is to integrate STL after the acquisition to improve system design and commission longer-term operations. That could lead, according to management, to higher margin. We'll have to wait and see. The key implication here, though, Joey, is this reinforces Vertiv's as a pick and shovel AI play, specifically in the next gen cooling, either liquid versus air. We'll have to see which direction they take. But this is an area that is very, very much in vogue at the moment, Joey.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I mean, it's obviously, it's a huge play into like essentially your cost of energy as well too, right? So as for Vertiv, as Shreve mentioned, picks and shovels, something that we're not really talking about too often. But if you think about this run from last year, April 7th, you get 510%. So we talk about the caterpillars, but what about some of these cooling systems that you need essentially for that whole data center? 510% in VRT.
We have to read this.
What's he saying?
Danny Boy Fade Runner. Love this guy.
Does he need it for the cheese?
Dropping another 5 in the chat, Joey.
What's he saying?
As soon as I found out that Obi started his own, I think you mean own here, AI company, OB AI, I thought to myself, oh boy, and bought a bunch of it up 25% today. Go Obi, I like that. Shout out to my man, Danny Boy, Fade Runner. Old boy is right.
Spelling his name wrong though, my guy.
Okay, Joe.
It's all right.
That's fine, man.
It's all right. We don't even
Call him out.
All right, it's all right.
Let's take a look at how the, do you want to comment? You already commented.
I already commented.
Let's take a look at the price action on VRT as compared to what the morning note said. So a bit of a tough one here. So you didn't get that breakout. So the morning notes trade plan was as follows. Intraday, not swing. Take 330 with volume. You didn't get 330 today. The best you got in the pre was 328 on the dot. The pullback, though, this is where it was wrong. Buy dips into 322 to 324 if structure holds. Well, structure certainly didn't hold. It really was dropping off a cliff. In fact, it found support at around 307.5. I wouldn't have taken this trade just because it kept making lower highs and lower lows. So there's no reason to say, oh yeah, this is the level. But 322, it was gauging 322 to 324. That would have been yesterday's close, or sorry, excuse me, Friday's closing print, which is about 323.5, 322 would have brought it to the top end of this range. So your trade wouldn't have come in today, and it says avoid chasing the mid-range, wait for a range expansion. You certainly didn't get that today at all. I mean, it gapped up initially, I want to say to the tune of, it was up about 1 and change in the morning, 1 and a third, but it really couldn't hold that. And to go green, I think we got to get to about 323.5. So we'll have to see if that ends up coming in. But yeah, the morning note didn't really get it on this one, but you wouldn't have been getting in because it didn't really hold structures. Yeah. What are we talking about next?
Pony AI and NVIDIA's next-gen autonomous cooler. Pony AI has unveiled its next-generation autonomous driving domain controller, that will be built on NVIDIA's Drive Hyperion platform. This new system is powered by Drive AGX Thor with NVLink, which is specifically aimed at L4 robo-taxis and autonomous mobility. This system is designed to deliver significant gains in the AI computing performance and energy efficiency for self-driving vehicles. It supports the latest AI models while meeting core L4 requirements like multi-sector sensor fusion and full scenario perception. Now, the domain controller is engineered to handle a high complexity scenario understanding, which is essential to navigate dense urban environments, as we all do know it. The Tesla is a great example for this. So the domain controller is, Pony AI has been a long-standing NVIDIA partner since 2017, and they have been working together on various autonomous hardware versions of it. So the company is expecting a new platform to support a portfolio spanning multiple compute tiers and specialized cooling solutions. This flexibility will enable deployment across a wide range of autonomous applications just beyond passenger robo-taxis. The integration of NVLink's technology will also allow for faster data transfer between the chips. Currently, Pony is trading flat and NVIDIA up on the day 3%.
So this is NVIDIA's, I don't want to say the first iteration, but one of their major ones into getting into AVs, autonomous vehicles. And obviously, they're not going to be running their own fleet. Neither will Pony, though. My understanding is Pony is going to be doing it through a third party, but let's wait and see. So a couple of things that I like about this. This is yet another application of the Thor process as well. And we've seen this chip deployed on robotics before. NVLink here is also key because of the data transfer significantly higher with NVLink. Obviously, that drops latency down. Latency very important for autonomous vehicles. But what I do really want to see more of is how this operates in the wild. We've seen the tie-up now between NVIDIA and Mercedes directly, where Mercedes is going to start throwing this Thor and NVLink level 4, if you believe the reports, driving system on some of their newer cars. So we should see this sooner rather than later in production vehicles to kind of gauge how it's doing in the real world. But what I really like about this with NVIDIA is they maintain all the margins. Like, I'm not trying to compare them to Uber. Uber's taking a bit of a different take. They're like, we're going to make ourselves the marketplace. We're not going to spend any money on R&D. We're going to make ourselves the marketplace. NVIDIA's like, okay, well, we're not going to run the cars. We're not going to make the cars. We're not going to run the service. We're just going to make the chips that are doing these. Now, one quick thing here. It does have all the different sensors like your Waymo's has, right? So you got the LiDAR, you got the radar, you got the cameras, you got the sensors, the infrared sensors. So by default, by virtue of its setup, it's going to be expensive. Why do I say that? Because Tesla has presented us with an alternative, a camera-only based system, which Elon keeps pounding the desk on, that is more scalable and a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
What do you feel about this, that they're kind of taking the traditional route to this AV? NVIDIA, that is, and Pony.
Yeah. I mean, but see, the thing is also we have to take into consider regulatory purposes, right? Like we know with Waymo, it's like, hey, they're getting in places quicker. Why? Because I think LiDAR is favored opposed to what we have in the camera system. I gotta show something here. A system essentially in Tesla. So I think that would be a huge factor, right? Especially in China. It's like, what are the regulators preferring essentially as a form of technology and a software, right?
That's fair enough. Assassino, I'm going to send you this, brother, because this is Waymo absconding from the scene of an accident.
Yeah,
okay?
It ran.
It smashed somebody and then got the hell out of there. Like a thief in the night. To the midday chat? Absolutely, Assassino, you request, you get, my man. Here, we're going to go Midday Madness. Midday Madness? Okay, there we go. We're going to throw it in that. There we go. It's on X. This should be really interesting. So let's do a little bit of the TA here on Pony.
Yeah.
See if the morning note came in for the win or for the L on this one, and then give Assassino and Fabian just a minute there to set up on that video, because the video is funny. And there's damage to the Waymo too. And it's like,
Yeah. I mean, it's still early days, as they would take.
It is. I'm just hating,
right?
Joey.
No, and that's fair, right? Like, that's a legitimate question. Like, what happens? Is there a kind of a shutdown?
Hold on. Play it again, Fabian.
Make sure there's no volume.
No problem. Let's look at the TA here, Joey. So the trade plan on Pony was to look long above 11. You didn't get it. The best you got there in the pre was 1091. It said pullback long only if 1065 to 1070 holds. That didn't hold. You failed. You failed all the way back down into 1047. Then it said failure short below 1050, risk of fade towards 1020. So you got the fade towards 1050, you got it all the way down to 1045, but this one basically did nothing. It dropped a couple of points from 1070 into 1060, now it's showing 1059. So I don't think your trade would have come in here, and the morning note really didn't get this one, because basically it did nothing. It looks like basically a bear flag, trading barely above the volume weighted average price. What is this thing down on the day? It's down 0.94, so very much a consolidative day. Let's see this video. So here it is. This is the beginning of it. And yeah, thank you for playing it slowly. There's the Brock up car. That looks like an NX or an RX.
Is all over that.
That looks like a Lex, right? That's either an NX. And then if we could zoom in a little bit on the back of the Waymo, you're going to see it in a second. Look at all the damage to the back on the right.
Get out of there.
Yeah, it is damage.
It's leaking something.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so, you know, these things aren't perfect, man. Whether you got LiDAR, you got radar, you got infrared SIA, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
They're still making mistakes, these cars.
It reminds me of that one robot in that movie, iRobot, that went rogue and didn't listen.
What was his name? He had a name.
I don't know.
He had a name.
No idea. Sorry, can't remember. But it's literally giving that sentiment here.
It does feel that way. Do you have any comments, Joey?
No, we went over with Pony.
You were good?
We were
Good to
good.
go?
Yeah.
All right, see ya. Sunny.
Let's talk. Sunny, yes, thank you, whoever said that. Thank you. Anyways, we're moving on to our next story. Verizon has reported an adjusted EPS of $1.28 for the first quarter, beating Wall Street analyst consensus of $1.21. Company has posted its first positive first quarter postpaid phone net additions since the year 2013. Total postpaid phone additions have reached 55,000, representing a massive year-over-year improvement of over $340,000. Consolidated adjusted EBITDA has grown 6.7% year over year to $13.4 billion. Cash flow from operating activities has reached $88 billion, a 2.6% increase, which is compared to the prior year period. Quarterly revenue of $34.4 billion has missed the analyst estimate of $34.82 billion, despite the fact that it grew 2.9% year over year. The revenue shortfall has been attributed to a disciplined approach to promotional spending and moderated equipment grade upgrade activity, as said by the company. First quarter results also include an 80 basis point impact to wireless service revenue growth due to a January network outage. Verizon has raised its fiscal 2026 adjusted EPS guidance to a range of between $4.95 to $4.99, exceeding the consensus of $4.91. The company has also raised its total retail postpaid phone net additions guidance to the upper half of the 750,000 to 1 million range. And CEO Dan Schulman has emphasized that putting the customer at the center of the business is reducing friction and also factoring the increasing long-term loyalty. Currently, VZ in the up by 2.4%. But before we go on to the boys, Adira, what do you have to say about this stock?
Yeah, I think interesting is not the numbers, it's not the guidance, it's a couple of comments that were made, I believe by CEO Dan Schulman, at least that the major one here was certainly made by him, but made by executives during the company's earnings call. Now, if you saw the stock, it popped. I mean, obviously it was already up, it gapped up on this report, but it popped up a little bit higher at 9:30 a.m. That's because we got some of these comments here with management claiming that Verizon is actually part of Anthropic's Project Glasswing and Mythos, which was their massive cybersecurity initiative. Then Dan Schulman also said that Verizon's in, quote, deep talks with some hyperscalers and large tech businesses to actually use Verizon's fiber and 5G products for AI infrastructure. So lots of massive cybersecurity and data center and AI infrastructure claims being made by Dan Schulman, CEO of Verizon. We'll have to wait and see if anything comes of these, but I found this to be beyond fascinating, and honestly, like, to me, this is the standout part of this report. I will be watching VZ, oddly enough, as potentially a data center dark horse, even in the cybersecurity space going forward now.
So what stood out to me is one of those situations we don't see a lot of, where you do well or you beat on EPS, the bottom line, but you miss on that top line in terms of revenue. Well, why was that the case this time around? Well, because they kind of refused to give out either discounts on phones, right, for new signups, or to reduce their tariff, their monthly tariff for the payment plan. So they held on to margins, hence the EPS beat. However, what it's showing you is without the discounts that they've, refused to do, they're unable to reach that top line number that the market is gauging that they are able to reach. So that does concern me a little bit here, that without discounts and without, eating into margins, they're not able to grow revenue as organically enough to meet the street's demand. So that's my concern a little bit there. Now, whether or not that changes in the next quarter where they do decide to kind of take the promotional route, I think we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, I do like the fact that Dan Schulman, the CEO, that is, basically saying the company's turnaround is gaining momentum and they're beginning to reclaim market leadership. I mean, I don't know. When I would go down to the States to visit my sister, we have something called Roam Like Home, right? Where basically we can just use our phone plan the way that it's structured here in the States for a fee, $5 a day, $10 a day, whatever it is, right? And so we get our choice of different carriers. Right, so you can go on Verizon, you can go on T-Mobile, you can go on AT&T, take your pick, the carrier that you can go on. So sometimes what I do is I switch carriers, really depending on the area that I'm in. But what I noticed was, at least, historically in the late, 2010s, like 18, 19, 20, and even the beginning of this decade, that Verizon always gave me the best signal. Okay. I don't think that that's the case anymore, Joe. I got to tell you, I'm liking T-Mobile a little bit better, at least in SoCal. And, the reason is SoCal's so difficult is because they got mountains everywhere. It always obstructs the cell signals. Yeah. So my sister will be talking to me on FaceTime. All of a sudden, there's a blankout. When you're with T-Mobile, fact check me if you guys are in SoCal right now. I'm getting a better signal all around with T-Mobile. I don't think the cream of the crop anymore is Verizon. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair. But also, like tower, you can take in who has more towers essentially within that rate. Who's spending more money? No, as for each individual segment, I mean, business segment down 1.6% year over year. The best performing is going to be the consumer essentially with 42.1% margins, in which Sharif was talking about not too long ago. And we talked about the communication service sector essentially. One of the stronger names was going on a bull run. When we've seen that rotation out of some of the semiconductors, which we're starting to see a rotation back into it, I was looking for strong sectors, and that was going to kick things off with T-Mobile, as Sharif was mentioning, and Verizon Wireless. They were all looking relatively strong with 28% climb here off of the February lows in VZ. So a pretty good look, starting to pull back in a little bit, but Yeah, I mean, the guidance might be a little bit of an issue as well, too, Sharif. I mean, they are looking at a little modest growth, 5 to 6%, which isn't horrible, but nonetheless, their best performing segment is going to be the consumer at 42.1% margin.
Yeah, I'm reading some of the commentary. It looks like you guys are kind of agreeing with me a little bit. Angelo saying T-Mobile is the best. The DC guitar, Verizon has become awful. Digger Devil, T-Mobile was a bad name over here, went bust years back. I don't know where you are, Digger Devil, let me know. And then Trig Trades, T-Mobile has now become the superior network. Tony, he's like, no, VZ still the best in my opinion. BWalk, Verizon isn't the strongest in SoCal anymore. Chaz Leist, AT&T and Verizon share the same towers. Leonard, T-Mobile in LA is confirmed good. Randy, since T-Mobile uses Starlink, it can do that extra mile. I didn't know that. Other Zinc, Sharif, correct. T-Mobile has passed Verizon. That's just been my suspicion. I didn't know any of this information, quite frankly. But I just always thought that Verizon was, leader of the pack, and I don't think that's the case anymore. Whether or not they can turn it around, I'm wishing them luck.
I'm happy with it.
Let's look at some of the TA here, Joey.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got. So the trading plane, breakout long above 425. Your target there is 48.75 and then 49.25. So you got the breakout 48.25. You got the breakout right there, and it did make its way up to 48.75. In fact, 48.75, it went to 48.73. So there you go. Off by 2 pennies there. The pullback long, here's what it says. 46.70 to 46.90. 46.70, almost on the dot. That's a 46.75 hold. That's right at 920. 46, what's the exact price there? 46.75 on the dot. Then second candle, you get 77s. And then 46.90, if that holds, it definitely held the 70. And then you would have definitely made a buck or two on that. So the morning note coming out with the TA pretty good, but you're going to have to time this, obviously, because you could have taken it into the pre-market, in which case it wouldn't have worked. Failure short below 46.50. Well, it never made it down to 46.50. So you wouldn't have been looking for there. And that opens a move, according to the TA there, at 45.50. So make sure you're getting these every day, baby. These levels are solid. Sia, what are we talking about?
Final story for the day, we're talking about Snap. Snapchat has been upgraded to a buy rating by Redburn. So Rothschild & Co. Redburn upgraded Snap to a buy from a neutral with a new price target of $10. That is on the upper mark from the previous $5. So this firm views Snap as a returning GAAP profitable for the first time this year, which is a major milestone for the social media company. Now, the ongoing subscription momentum for the Snap Plus service has been cited as a key driver for the improved financial outlook. Analysts have also highlighted a potential breakout of the company's augmented reality specs, driving a stronger core business. And for this, Snap is up on the day almost 9%.
9% on this news?
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't take much, Joey, but look, I like the VR angle or the AR angle to this. I worry that they may not be the company with enough money in the bank to get this done. It feels like it's going to be an extremely CapEx heavy, very competitive space, whether you're looking at Meta, you're looking at Apple, or some other names that could come from the other side of the ocean there in China that could compete with Snap. I think you're going to need deep pockets for this. I don't know if Snap's the company that's going to be able to do this. We've been talking about Snap for years now as a possible acquisition / buyout target. That hasn't even manifested at all. I haven't even heard rumors about that. So, what's your opinion?
I think it's a big waste of money.
On to buy Snap, right?
No, yeah, that and like obviously they're trying to come out with that hardware thing as well too, right?
Yeah, bro, this is not easy work.
No. I think it's a horrible idea, considering how much like market share they actually hold in that space. Like if you're telling me that Reality Labs can't even operate at a net profit, and it's the largest social media platform out there, what do you think you're going to do in Snapchat? No. I think it's a big waste of money. I don't think it's going to do anything. It's just going to drain their pockets.
And let's even be more honest about it. If their user base is mostly young people in general, let's just go with that. I know you like it, but like it's not a hard and fast rule.
No,
Most of the kids that I see at the gym, if they're in high school, they're always on Snap. So here's the deal. If your user base already doesn't have much money.
Yeah, exactly. What are you going to do?
Then you really want to get, them on the very expensive product like AR or, AR glasses, which are super expensive. Now, sure, mommy and daddy can fork over some money. That's fine. But it's not the space that I would be looking to monetize.
No, they just don't hold enough market share, in my opinion, in order for them to really get this rocking and rolling. Yeah, it's chilly in here, eh, Katina? It's a dot. there you go.
Katina Man is long NVIDIA.
He's long, and yeah, NVDA is absolutely a monster. Another new all-time high not too long ago, 215. Katina Man, what was I talking about? That move, all-time high in NVDA. The long terms are liking that. Face Slaba will hit that one, but we can't get Bitcoin to get going here for some reason. Oh well, nonetheless, yeah, continue with your technicals. I just think it's a big waste of money. As you mentioned, the people who are typically using this don't have that much cash on hand. I think it's a bad idea to get into.
I have to agree with that. Look what the trade plan says here. For Snap, breakout long above 590. Your target is 605, then 620. Let's take a look at what 590 did. You got the breakout right at 930, breakup of 590. And then did you get 605? You got 605. How about 620? Joey, what's the high of the day? 620 on the dot. Snapchat up over 10. I was about to say over 10%. Up 8.85%. So that was the breakout trade there if you were looking long. What did it say? Pullback long only if 565 to 570 holds. What'd you get there on the initial open? The low is 576, so didn't quite make it down into 570. In fact, you got a bit of a triple bottom right around 575 there. And then the failure short was to go below 550 on the short, and then it opens a move to 530. That didn't come in at all. Friday's closing print on Snap was 565. We never revisited that level. We didn't close the gap, but that breakout long above 590 with a target of 605 then 620, that was absolute money on the trading plan for Snapchat. Make sure you get this note every single morning. If you're a YouTube subscriber, just go over to the YouTube homepage, click posts. It's there every day. We do 10 now. So before we were doing news only, right? Now we're doing TA for these ones with a little bit of a new setup. So you get the kind of the summary of the story, 1/3 dedicated to the story, 1/3 to the technicals, and the last third to the trade plan. Make sure you're getting it every day. As you saw there, it's pretty accurate with the trades. Shout out.
Did we go over our super chat there?
Oh man, sorry.
All right,
take it over, baby.
Randy trades futures. I don't know. We'll ask him $2 Canadian. Bang, bang, bang. We like that. Couple snow pesos there. Thanks for the stream, guys. No, thank you. Appreciate it. We're here every day, same time. Same bad channel, essentially. So
absolutely.
8 a.m. Join Sharif and I at 11 a.m. And then other than that, you have Neil and Sean on Brendo, Adara at the desk. Adara always going to be there, going to be bringing your news. So anytime. We're not planning to go anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, and we got Sia as part of the team now.
Yeah, Sia as well. Sia a part of the team. So a lot going on here. Thank you
and
very much.
You're part of the team. Yeah.
Yeah, so we like snow pesos as well too. So bang, bang,
snow pesos.
We like the snow peso. Let's make a petition for we can name it that. But nonetheless, guys, we're still sitting in this Bitcoin trade. We got a nice little pop up. We'll go over some of the trades here today. Bitcoin being our better one. We catch this breakout. Bang, 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 bang. Pew, 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 pew.
Crazy.
Right there on IBIT. It takes us a couple more attempts for us to get rolling. But this downtrend, we might get stopped out break even. Let's trail out of that one there. So we did get stopped out half as we do downtick. We have NVDA continuing to slowly grind higher. Tesla is on one here today, and so is Google, up to a high of 353. So some of the tech names really starting to rally here today. What a recovery off of the lows and a big-time buy program on Tesla. Let's pull up this 10-minute chart here and see what we got. Holy schmoly. That's a lot. Ooh, there it is. 1120 all the way to 120, so 2 hours of straight buying on the 10 minutes there on TSLA. I'm going to head over to the other desk as we get prepared. I'll leave it up with Sharif. You guys will see me tomorrow. There's Sia. See you later. Goodbye.
I always do that every day, bro.
Yeah,
I'm like, see ya, and I actually don't mean it that way.
Yeah, no, we don't.
I came on screen to say bye. I'm going off screen now.
Okay, we'll catch you later. How about that one? That's a little bit better. Catch Joey options 8:20 a.m. tomorrow morning. We'll talk a little bit of options talk. Okay, I see what you did there, Dan R. Oh, you sly bugger. I'll leave it off to Shree for a couple of seconds.
No worries, brother. There goes HTCO into another high of the day. HTCO is absolutely ripping, guys, and this was what I meant. Like, when you breach that, mid to low 30 or whatever area, you're likely on the way, to that next $10 area. With 38.65 high, showing 37.70 now. It's up, as I mentioned, 235%. Great breakout for this one. We had a bunch of trades on HTCO during the midday. It hasn't done that many shares. That's the funny thing. Only about 10 million shares, 9.9999 million. Let's see. There it is, officially 10 million shares now. Really ripping up. Look for the structure to hold. You can very clearly see support here at around $32. What a move that was above 32. And this is a very, very clean area. Look at the $30 area support, then it's $32 area support. We'll see if it ends up being 36 here, that the next area of support, because there's a lot of interactions with that $36 level, so be on the lookout. But this one could see 40 quick as you like. And if you're a small cap trader and you have the time, don't stay tuned. That's not what I'm trying to say. Wait for 4 o'clock for HTCO if it doesn't give you anything now, because this one could absolutely rip in the aftermarket once it catches that bid, once the exchange is shut off, the volatility halt parameters, and this one can move as it likes willy-nilly without being stopped. HTCO could be a monster play. With the same idea, watch for this one to be a monster short tomorrow, okay? This, first red day, as Luis would say, this could be very, very good both ways. Long in the aftermarket, and then short. We wake up in the pre tomorrow, take a look at it. Is it gapping down, gapping up? What's the situation? HTCO could be a monster play to the downside, and we're going to send you now